and a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Appreciate your patience here this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Hope you're having yourselves a wonderful morning this morning, and thank you for being here on our many channels up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the world. You will find us on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /Wake Up Call DT, as well as on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. So however you're connecting with the show, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We appreciate you so very much for being a part of the broadcast. And of course, once the shows go live, they hop into the archives, and you can find a ton of new broadcasts added to the archives on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, as well as Podchaser.com, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do on any one of these channels is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. So thank you to everybody that's done that. We appreciate your support and your love, as always, and always looking forward to the conversations that we get to have here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. So with that being said, we have a jam-packed show. You know it's Friday, so inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', we're jumping right into our trio of segments that we bring you on Friday. First, the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It is what happy tastes like. Then we'll jump into Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver is what that acronym of LEAD stands for. And that's proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero. The conversation today, the topic, is make your mind your friend. Make your mind your friend. We'll get into that. Top Dog of the Week, 10 a.m. Eastern Time to start off the second hour of the show. I will announce my top dog of this week, and then we will round out the show with one of the top dogs in my life, and that is one of my closest friends. That is more than a friend. He's become a brother. We've been friends since 2008, and I can't even believe that. That was 16 years ago, and I love him dearly. Fellow broadcaster, writer. He's a coach. He's a dad. He's a husband. He is a brother, like I said. He's a friend. He's an incredible human being. And Ross Turetsky is going to join me at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. And we're going to speak on the heels of the ushering in of the 2024-25 NFL season, which was last night, with the Ravens and the Chiefs, which ended very along the lines of where I thought it would go, to the most part. So we'll talk about that. We'll get into the NFL season. We'll talk about Major League Baseball getting closer and closer to the postseason, and some college football talk as well. So a lot of great stuff coming up with Mr. Ross Turetsky at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. So with all that being said, you know what's coming up, which means it's time for the annoying moment of the week.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The annoying moment of the week.
I really, honestly, I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
Do you have to be that crazy? I guess so. The annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. Folks, every time that I get to do this segment, I look forward to it. I talk about it throughout the week. I brought it up a bunch. It is the longest standing segment on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And I'm always honored and privileged to be able to work with Carvel DeWitt, to have my Sunday there, the DT Dolphin, in connection with the Lemoyne Dolphins, which are right down the road from Carvel DeWitt. So it's an honor, it's a privilege, it's a blessing, and I always appreciate everything that I get to do with Carvel DeWitt. And like I said, you know, my grandparents up in heaven watching, you know, to know that their grandson's working with Carvel and to know he has his own Sunday, I'm sure I'm sure they really enjoy that. And I got to bring my grandmother out there, my Gene Mama. So that meant a lot to me that she got to go and be inside of Carvel DeWitt, which was really, really nice. And, you know, it's just a beautiful place. It really is. And I thank Jay Cartini and the whole staff there for being so good to me over the years. So, with that being said, now let's talk about something annoying. So, it's like a beautiful, kind segue. Let's get into the annoying moment of the week. Well, if one of my other brothers, Isaac Elford, who does Tortora and Elford with me, make sure you check out our newest episode. That episode is available to you now on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and all of our podcasting platforms that I said earlier today, where you can go and search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, on TuneIn, on Spotify, on iHeart, on Amazon Music, and so on and so forth. Go and check out the new edition of Tortora and Elford, where we preview Georgia Tech at Syracuse on the football field. That game coming up here this weekend, this Saturday at noon Eastern time on Saturday, September 7th. So make sure that you're checking that out. Well, I brought up Isaac because if I didn't use this as my annoying moment of the week, I think he'd call me a liar, and that is one thing that I am not. My annoying moment of the week has to be the absolutely outrageously ridiculous, stupid, makes no sense, why did they do it, who is getting paid off to be a part of this garbajosa of the highway dismantling in Syracuse. You know I've brought it up before, but I've been driving on it, okay? And I've been around it because it's football season, right? So I got to go do my interviews. I got to go off to Syracuse. I have to, pick stuff up and do different things like that. So it has been definitely frustrating to have to take those roads, because if you know me, you know that I don't, typically go downtown, because why would I purposely throw myself into traffic, right? That doesn't make any sense. So you won't typically find me going downtown. And I mean, there are some places that I enjoy going to. Obviously support local business down there. I've been to a bunch of the restaurants downtown, but it's something that, I don't think anybody's like, yeah, I want to go downtown and, screw around for a minute. So the fact of what they're doing to Interstate 81 makes no sense to me. And I've been trying to figure out, and good morning to Jerry, I've been trying to figure out what the purpose is for this. And I was like, okay, well, maybe the purpose is that they just want more people to travel downtown. And when I was talking to other people in the media, that's what they said. They're like, yeah, they want to get more people downtown, get more people supporting businesses. And that's what they might be telling you. But what I'm hearing in my head is someone in the construction world or somebody in the business world know somebody that knew somebody that was like, hey, because it's going to take so many years to dismantle this. You have to understand, they have to unbuild something, which is so stupid. When you build something and it's been working for a very long time, yeah, there's traffic, but it's been working. Why would you take down something that you built? Here's the funny thing. Those of you that know me know that I'm all about building bridges, not burning them or exploding them or dismantling them. What is Syracuse literally doing? They're breaking a bridge. And to me, it doesn't make any sense, because there's already traffic. There's already things that have been going on that, I mean, you think about it, for basketball and football games, there's traffic in these areas by Adams Street. Adams Street is a terrible, terrible, terrible decision that was created with this. You don't get rid of all of 81 in that area because of Adams Street. And what you need to do is, when you have people coming from the fair and you have people coming from other parts of the city and people, whatever, when we're all merging, when 481 and 690 and 81 are all coming together, when you get to Adams Street and you're coming around the bend, right? You have that entrance ramp, you have that other entrance ramp, you have the one entranceway and the other entranceway, and you have two lanes. And the entrance comes into the right lane. But there's no third lane to get everybody in. And then those 2 lanes where the right lane is entering in, those 2 lanes become 1 lane again. So before you get to Adams Street, as you're coming around that bend, and a lot of you know what I'm talking about here, is that your entrance way goes into the right lane, and then there's only the left lane, right? And you're supposed to move over, if you can, to provide for courtesy of the road, which people should remember. There is a thing called courtesy of the road. So you get on, right? You merge, and then you got the right lane and the left lane for like a half a millisecond, and then it becomes 1 lane to get on the highway. So you have all this traffic merging. You have 2 lanes of traffic merging with a 3rd lane of traffic to become 1 lane of traffic to go onto the highway or to get off at Adams Street and only have 1 lane until you either go left or right. That's the issue. Because when you're going to the game, and folks, I have covered sports in Syracuse, New York, in my hometown, for many, many years. Okay, when you take that road and you get off at the Adams Street exit, you are in a situation where you are in 1 lane that has to go under the bridge, that then has to go through 1, 2, 3 lights, then has to bear to the right and a quick left and stay under the bridge, stay under 81, and then you have to go up and around the corner. They need to open all that up. You don't send more people down to the city. Now, if you're going to send people down to the city, if you're going to take this highway out, then what you have to do is you have to send people down to the city and expand. And I know that there's some roads that are supposed to be expanding and whatnot, but here's the other thing. Any city, not just the city of Syracuse, but any city has unsafe parts. And some people don't drive in the city. My dad brought this up, and I've thought about this. Some people don't drive in the city because they don't feel safe in the city. So to force people to drive through a place where they don't feel safe, to force people to, and keep in mind, you put more wear and tear on your brakes when you're not on the highway, because you're supposed to be moving most of the time on the highway. So you got more wear and tear on your vehicle by taking out 81. You're driving through potentially unsafe neighborhoods at all times of the day if you're taking out 81. You're creating more traffic during game day if you're taking out 81. So whatever moronic pretend butterfly reason that you created this get rid of 81 project, I know there's people that are behind it. I know there's people that are supportive of it. And listen, you have your prerogative to do what you want to do, but common sense is something that in America is becoming lost. It's becoming uncommon sense. And it's concerning to me because what type of human being with any patchwork of common sense would think that destroying a highway is going to facilitate better traffic? Highways were created to move people faster. Getting rid of it, by definition, will move people slower through unsafe neighborhoods at all hours of the day at times where, it's not just game day anymore. Because yesterday I was in traffic on 81 and it wasn't a game day. It was just because it was in the middle of what time was it? It was a little bit after 4 p.m. because I had to go pick something up. So it's a little bit after 4 p.m. and I had to go to Syracuse's campus, and I'm dealing with all that. It doesn't make any sense. It's not practical. It's not reasonable. It's not functional, and it's going to take forever to tear it down. It is going to take forever. Here's me. I'm not a construction worker, but this is something I thought of in the moment, instantaneously, on the phone with my buddy Isaac yesterday. I said, here's a thought. Why don't you expand the Adams Street exit? Why don't you expand the highway there, push it out a little bit because you have some space, push it out, get another lane for Adams Street for people that are exiting to go to a game, right? Because that's where the majority of the traffic comes throughout the year. So why don't you expand that? And then how about this? Let's take a page from Florida's book. For those of you that think Florida is a messed up state, you're probably listening to the news and you probably don't go to Florida that often. Now, Florida is a second home to me, and I have seen Florida built. I have watched my entire life of Florida building. I have driven on their new roads. I have driven on their expanded roads. I have driven on the changing of their roads. And yeah, you got to get used to it. And yes, they keep building toward the sky. And at one point, I feel like I can touch God and give him a little high five. But here was my idea. Seeing what I've seen in Florida and thinking of the idiocy of getting rid of a highway, I thought to myself, what if instead of getting rid of 81, they kept the 81 that we have right now going through the city, and they made that for city traffic on and off, right? And then you built an off-ramp and then built a whole new highway that you could build up and over the city highway, like they've done in Florida. Build it up and over or up and to the side of, and have that be the highway that goes around and is the expressway, so to speak, to get to Watertown and Binghamton, but keep what you have. So the people that want to stay in the city are driving on that highway and South Salina Street and all that good stuff. And then the people that want to go off and get out to either I-81 North or I-81 South will take this off-ramp and go out. That way you're alleviating that traffic that is driving through 81 through the city to try and get to 81 North or 81 South. We're getting those people an express highway, essentially, to move them quicker because we're taking them off of the road with the people whose traffic is within the city. So you have 81 within the city traffic and get the heck out of the city 81 traffic, and you move them in two different places by having an off-ramp. I'm not a construction worker. How did I come up with that? It's not rocket science. I mean, this is my city, and this is very stupid. Do you know how long it's going to take to destroy this? I mean, we are paying tax dollars in the state of New York to have our roads that were built decade upon decade ago to destroy them. We are paying tax dollars to destroy things that we built. That if, gosh forbid, we decide that this destroying of the 81 project doesn't work, that we would have to rebuild and then spend tax dollars doing that. We can't take care of poverty. There's not other things in Syracuse we need to work on. Crime, drugs, the safety of Destiny USA, for goodness sakes. People don't even want to go to the mall anymore. So what could we do with tax dollars that doesn't involve the dismantling of something that we're probably going to build again? So let's see what Lisa had to say here. Oh, but the new roundabouts are supposed to be great because everyone knows how to use those correctly. Laughs someone who worked right off Carrier Circle and saw all the accidents because people didn't know. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Thank you for bringing that up, Lisa. Is that we're creating more roundabouts. And people don't know how to drive around Carrier Circle. I think Carrier Circle was created as a human project. For those of you that believe aliens exist, maybe they created Carrier Circle just to monitor human beings. And when we finally get it right, they'll realize that we're smart enough and then they'll attack because they want to have a fair fight. People don't know how to drive on Carrier Circle. It's confusing. By the way, here's the cool thing about Carrier Circle and about the circles in general, because it's not just Carrier Circle. There's circles within circles. If you're coming from the airport, there's circles that lead to Carrier Circle that then get you where you're going. I did this. I got onto the circle and I was like, oh no, I'm supposed to be over there. The cool thing about the circle is when you make a mistake, you can just keep going around it like a merry-go-round and then choose the spoke that you want to leave on. Lisa said they're getting rid of Adams Street exit altogether, per the lady at the fair with the Department of Transportation. She said the plan is supposed to be finished in 2028. Dumb, stupid, ridiculous, makes no sense. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. We want more people driving through the city. Okay, for what? To help the businesses? Syracuse University's taken over half the city. They've taken out businesses. They continue to grow, which is a beautiful thing, but Syracuse University has to give and take. They have to learn to give and take. If the entire city of Syracuse becomes Syracuse University, there is no city of Syracuse. It's just a massive campus. Because think about it. We've lost the Crowne Plaza Hotel. We've lost the Sheraton Hotel, which was a partner with Syracuse. So now, allegedly, we can't have the NCAA tournament come here. We can't have the NIT come here. So we took money out of our city to continue building Syracuse University. We took money out of our city. Because you have to have hotels downtown within a certain proximity, from what I understand, in order to have these tournaments. Why would we take away opportunities? We've hosted the NCAA tournament. We've hosted the NIT. Why would we take away opportunities? Syracuse should not be doing that. Who is running this? And I've jokingly, but not jokingly, said to you on the air that I might run for office someday. If I ran against the 81 Project and the stoppage of the 81 Project, I could probably win. I would just be talking to everyone. I would ask people to vote that have driven on it. Everyone that's driven on it in the last few months, please vote. And if you believe that it's a good idea, I'd prefer if you leave my city. I mean, this doesn't make any sense. There's no logic to it. There's no rationale to it. People already drive poorly in Syracuse. I was in the car with my dog yesterday, driving by Destiny USA en route to where I'm talking about with Adam Street and all of that, and I had to go pick something up at SU. So I'm driving with my dog. This guy comes up behind me in like a van. He comes to my right, and I'm looking, and I'm thinking to myself, there's not enough room between the car that's in the middle lane in front of him and what's in front of me, and he cut me off and was willing to kill me and my dog, willing to crash into me to just get in front of me, like a no-mind. And then somebody else was pissed off at the guy in the right lane on my way back from SU, and they cut me off in a split second. Learn how to drive, people, okay? Because you want to be an idiot and you have to get somewhere. I don't want to die. I'd prefer that no one else dies on the road. I just had a friend who just got a vehicle, and the vehicle got totaled. A lady turned right into him. So please be smart out there. Now, Lisa wrote this in. Lisa, thank you for the insight here. I appreciate this. Department of Transportation also says that they aren't disrupting people yet. As someone who drives to the city from the south, that's a lie. There were days I was an hour late because of traffic at the 81-481 split. Yes, they have signs telling people which lane to be in, but no one cares. And then accidents happen, and it's even worse. But the Department of Transportation says there's no disruption, ... yet. And that's laughable. We literally took the problems that we have in Syracuse, New York, and added a new problem. And there is politics to that. I'll let you read between those lines. But there are politics to that. We created a problem amidst other problems. We've had a heroin epidemic in Syracuse. We have had, obviously, homeless people and issues there. We have had issues with safety. Post 9/11, they showed the percentage that crime went down in cities in the state of New York. New York City's crime went down 50%. Syracuse's crime went from 12 to 11. We went down 1%. We went down 1%. And that's unacceptable. Now, granted, New York City has a lot more people and a lot more crime, but, you see them go from, let's say 80% to 40%, right? They go down 50, they go down to half. And, or if they go down 50%, they would go to 30. But you know what I mean? They cut it in half. So if there was in a month, let's say in a month in New York City, there was 5,000 crimes. Then there was 2,500. Well, in Syracuse, it went down 1%. Now, granted, Syracuse is not as big as New York City. It doesn't have as much crime as New York City. But I'd rather go to half. I'd rather go from 12 to 6 than 12 to 11. But again, there's a lot of things that need to change in the state of New York. Because think about what New York did on the Thruway. Okay? And this is why I tell people to go out and vote. Stop looking at political parties and just look at decisions. Just look at decisions. There are decisions that are happening that are not good. Look at what we did on the Thruway, taxpayer money. Okay? The Thruway said, we're going to get rid of the restaurants we have and we're going to put in new restaurants. And in order to do that, we have to knock down these buildings, take away your opportunity to use a bathroom, to eat, and just have miles and miles and miles and miles of open road on the Thruway where you can't stop because we're building. So that we could build up these new buildings that have new tenants. Why didn't you just put new tenants in the old buildings? What was wrong with those buildings? Why did you have to dismantle and build that? Because when you dismantle those buildings, you pay a business to do that. When you rebuild it, you pay a business to do that. The business makes more money to take down and build up than it would to just have other people come in. It's the creation of an opportunity for someone to make money that you don't even need. It doesn't make sense. So then I want to go and follow the paper trail and say, well, who authorized that and what businesses and who works within those businesses and why are those people making money, right? Shouldn't construction workers be constructing something that's necessary? That's not necessary. Lisa said the Thruway was rough for me with a capital rough. I had a baby shower in Cleveland and being 5 months pregnant and not having bathrooms. Yeah. Yeah. You know? Stop at this exit because if you don't, you're not going to have anywhere to eat for 30 miles, 60 miles. I remember being on the Thruway and coming home and being like, oh, I didn't know that once I got on the Thruway, there wasn't going to be anywhere to eat for the next hour. I mean, it's ridiculous. But why did they do that? They didn't need to build a new building. They didn't have to build new buildings. They chose to build new buildings, and building new buildings paid businesses more, right? Let's knock down something we don't have to knock down to build something new. Well, that puts a lot of money in the pocket of somebody. Why don't you follow the paper trail and find out whose pocket that's going into? New York State taxes us on everything. When we wake up in the morning, we get taxed to take our head off the pillow. And a lot of that goes to New York City. I'm still a firm believer if we cut ourselves off from New York City and became our own thing, that our taxes would be cut in half. Because I feel like we're always bailing out. And listen, I love New York City. I love being on Long Island. There's things that I love to do there. They just think very differently than we do in upstate New York, and they cost us a lot of money, right? Sometimes you have to tell your child to move out of your basement because they're costing you a lot of money and they need to go off on their own. And I think that we as New York State have to tell New York City, Long Island, to move out of the house because you eat way too much and the grocery bill is extensive. So but I mean, seriously, we are taxed extremely high. We're taxed to breathe. And on top of that, we are now cutting out the major part of transportation through our city. We're debilitating ourselves for no reason. And we're knocking down to build back up buildings that didn't need to be knocked down. We are literally seeing our taxpayer money be spent on useless things, being spent on destroying our transportation and unnecessary, frivolous spending for no reason. We have to change. We have to change. And if the people in power are not administering that change, and worse yet, going in the wrong direction, then you have to go out and vote. So to those of you that think your vote doesn't matter, it does. Your vote matters. It matters locally. The people that are here in your community that are trying to make changes, if you want to make a change, do your research, know the candidates, and vote in November. Do your research. Don't just vote. Do your research. Don't go to the polls and not know who the hell's on the ballot. Do your research. I know. I understand. It's going to be more work for you. but more work for you for less stress for you and your family, I think that's worth it. I think that's worth it. People that think the destroying of a highway and the building of buildings that we don't need, those of you that support that, I want to know where the other part of your brain was left. Because anyone that's driving through the city right now is dealing with traffic that is like game day plus worse. And why do we want every day in the city of Syracuse to be like game day? Why did we create more traffic for ourselves in a hope of having a better tomorrow? And it's not supposed to be done until 2028. It's 2024. You are exhausting people. You're frustrating people. And I will tell you this. If you force people to drive through the city in the hopes that they will go to businesses, they're not going to go to those businesses. They're going to drive through the city in wall-to-wall traffic. They're going to curse you out, and they're going to want to go home. You're going to have more people in City Hall, but you're not going to have more people in the restaurants in the city. Let's destroy a highway to create more traffic downtown where people already don't want to go and be stuck in traffic. If I want to go to a restaurant downtown, I'm going to go to a restaurant downtown. But you don't take multiple paths of travel and eradicate one of them and then hope it's going to make the rest of them better. Well, we're going to add a lane to this one. It's still a city road. There's still stop signs and streetlights. It's not a highway. Stop signs and streetlights, it's not a highway. Common sense. Common sense in America right now is being attacked. If you want better, then be the common sense that fights against it. I love my city. I love our community. I love the people here. And I know that I'm not the only one frustrated with the roads. So let's do better. Okay? Let's do better. Our tax dollars should not be spent demolishing something to make our lives difficult. We're going to spend 4 years going through the destruction of it, and then we have to live with the aftermath. It's like slowly watching something blow up. Why don't we just go out on Onondaga Lake and drop a grenade in the middle of our boat and then just watch it slowly sink and don't move, because that's what it feels like. Do better. We have to do better. That's been the Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. We'll take a step aside and we'll be back with Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver right after this. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, There's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're gonna be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever gonna have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. It is time for us to get into lead. Learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver is what the acronym stands for, and it is proudly presented to you by the wonderful team led by Jim Sikowski, one of my brothers as well, there on 7916 Brewerton Rd in Cicero, New York. And I implore you to go to not just Chick-fil-A, but specifically the first Chick-fil-A that we've ever had here in Central New York, which is Chick-fil-A Cicero. Our topic today, make your mind your friend. Make your mind your friend. Mental health, when I was growing up, wasn't really talked about. It was, you were made fun of. You're weak. If you were a guy, they would call you a girl, which was super sexist and awful because they used it as a negative connotation. And there's women and men are strong, and women and men have weak moments, and they should not be treated differently, and one is better than the other. I don't believe that at all. I don't believe men are better than women, and I don't believe women are better than men. I don't believe anybody's better than anybody, especially because of your gender. Doesn't, like, oh, well, I'm this gender, so I'm better. No, that doesn't make you better. What makes you a good person is how you treat people and how you treat yourself. That's what makes you good. That's what I shouldn't say that's what makes you good. That's what makes you people see your goodness. So when I was a kid, if I was struggling, they called me weak. They called me a baby. Get over it. Stop being ridiculous. You're too sensitive. But there was no path to health. It was, there's something wrong with you. Now you hear all the time, go get therapy. Go to therapy. Go see a psychiatrist, a psychologist. Go find someone that can help you. Back then, if you saw a therapist, they thought you were a weirdo. They thought you were one step from being a crazy person. If you went to see a therapist, they're like, oh, this man's on the precipice. This woman's about to fall off the cliff. Mental health, growing up for me, there wasn't much of any. It was, hopefully you have someone in your family or a friend or a teacher that has really good advice and is willing to be there for you and willing to talk to you and make you feel like you're not screaming into the abyss. Everyone has moments with mental health. Everyone does. Whether you admit it or not, everyone at some point in their life is going to struggle with mental health because life happens and life is not perfect and life is not an exact science. So to think that you're going to go through your entire life with no moment of having to work through something is ignorant. We all do. And making fun of someone who's struggling, in my opinion, will eventually become a humbling experience. And that's not me wishing bad on somebody. That's me living life. I believe that God shows you, like, okay, you think that it's a joke? Well, I'm going to show you that it's not a joke. I'm going to show you that your mental health is extremely important. And so making your mind your friend, why did I pick that topic today? Because I know what it's like to have your mind be your enemy, right? And I unfortunately have had friends take their own lives. I've had 2 friends do it. I don't wish it on the worst people in the world. I don't wish that on anybody. To have to live through a friend who decides that they don't want to be here anymore. One of them happened when I was at school at Marywood University, and one of them happened within the last couple of years. It's one thing to find out that someone you love has passed away. It's another thing to find out that they passed away at their own hand. And that's a tough thing to stomach. It's a hard thing to, because you can't do anything. You can't go back and talk with them and say, you know, I wish I had said this to them, and I wish I had said, you can't go and say that. You can't go and do anything, or thinking in your head like, oh, when I thought they were joking, maybe they were actually crying out for help. And the thing that people that take their lives don't understand is when you take your life, you leave us all with the pieces. When you take your life, you leave a bunch of people thinking that it's their fault. And that the ripple, there's never a good reason to take your life. There's never the oh, this is a really good choice and it's going to help out the people that love me. It doesn't help out the people that love you. It hurts us. It hurts us. And we're left picking up the pieces, trying to understand why. And we can't tell you that the reason why we think you did it, we can't tell you like, hey, you just hang on for one more day because you're gone. Now, you're in heaven, but you're not here. And I don't think God ever wants to see one of his kids come back early. As much as he loves us, I don't think he wants to see any of us show up early. It's the one time that you shouldn't be early. And it's heartbreaking to know the truth that some people laugh off mental health. They consider mental health mental illness. And they're very different. And you're not mentally ill when you struggle. You're not mentally ill when you need help. You're not mentally ill when you're trying to find peace and you're trying to get better and you're trying to work through something. That is not mental illness, folks. It's not. And to treat it like it is unfortunate. But I think that we live in a world where it's very easy, and maybe now, I still think people probably laugh off mental health at times, but it's being forced upon us. We live in a world right now where people don't want to get canceled. Nobody wants to disagree with the majority. And those people that think they're in the majority will try to scare you into submission. It's very ironic that people are afraid to not be in the majority, and once they're in the majority, they try to scare people that are not in the majority. You hear what I'm saying? Out of fear, they make a decision, and then they try to force a decision by using fear. Pretty sick. So they don't want to be afraid, but they're okay scaring other people. Because do you ever in school realize that there was a bully, and you see this person that you think's your friend, and when the bully's bullying you, they stand behind the bully, and you're like, I thought that they were against bullying. I thought they love me. I thought they're my friend. But they just don't want the bully to bully them. So they get behind the bully. And they watch you scared, frustrated, terrified, but they don't help you. but they expect you to help them if the bully ever turns around. Mental health has been said over and over again. But in order to change the hearts and minds of people for the better, you cannot just say something or try to thrust it upon someone. Forcing somebody to do something typically never works out for you. In a relationship, when you force a friend to hang out with you, eventually that blows up. In a relationship where you force somebody to do the things that you want to do that they don't want to do, it eventually breaks up. When you try to force somebody to be someone they're not, to love you, to this and that, to show up, and they don't want to, it's gonna blow up. When you try to force workers to do something they don't believe in, they might be there for a while and they might take that paycheck, but eventually they say to themselves, this ain't worth it. When you try to force people into submission, that is not how you create positive change. So saying mental health does not make minds healthier. What makes minds healthier is to systematically spend time in schools with children. Now, schools right now are a breeding ground of very wild, insane ideas. And there are a lot of things that are happening in schools that have made me think, if and when I have children, I am highly considering homeschooling them. Because I am highly concerned with some teachers, not all, thank God, but some teachers' lack of morals, lack of common sense, responsibility. Teachers that are essentially standing behind the bully because they're afraid. And they're willing to ruin the future of America out of fear. Now, when we look at the world today and we look at mental health is not something that just started. It's something that's always been here. But like I said, it wasn't readily spoken about. And because it wasn't spoken about, and it was, even if it was spoken about, was kind of laughed off, kids like me were left by the wayside. Kids like me were told, who cares? Kids like me were told, figure it out. Figure it out, get over it, it's not a big deal. And I feel bad for my generation and the generations before that, because we were essentially told to just get over it. The generations now have the benefit of mental health being a conversation. But the conversation doesn't solve the problem. We have to have people, and it always comes back to this, we have to have people that have personal responsibility. Therapists and counselors and priests and pastors and deacons and parents and uncles and grandparents and aunts that are willing to sit and work through things, not just with the youth, but with each other. Mental health is the responsibility of every individual. And some individuals have lost control of their mind, of reality, and they need someone to guide them, not see them as impressionable. See, there's a mental health crisis in America, but people are using that as a vehicle. People that are sick are using it as a way to control and gain popularity in things that could be absolutely insane, but they're using mental health the crises of mental health as a means to redirect and to spread whatever they want to spread. Instead of looking at people and saying, wow, this person's really struggling. See, for me, there are things in this world that I agree with, and there's things that I don't. My belief in God dictates everything. And not my religion. Hear me, my belief in God. And so when I sit with somebody who's potentially very different from me, even if I don't understand or agree with life choices that they've made or whatever, if someone is hurting, my belief in God, my faith in God, and what God teaches trumps everything. I have sat with people that vehemently disagree with certain things that I agree with. And I will sit and I will listen and I will talk to them as a human. I'm not going to swear and yell and scream and try and get you to believe in me and hold your head underwater until you do, figuratively or literally. But in the same respect, those people have not respected my opinions and my views, and they got into that conversation to change me, to indoctrinate me, to propaganda me, and it didn't work. I have been known to sit with people. I'll put it to you like this. I've told you before that I've thought about running for president, and I think about that. And I've talked to liberals, conservatives, Democrats, Republicans, and I want to differentiate because liberal doesn't mean you have to be Democrat and conservative doesn't mean you have to be Republican. People can be moderate. I've spoken to people in all those walks of life, I've spoken to men and women. I've spoken to different ages. I have spoken to different sexual orientations. I've spoken to different colors. I've spoken to different amounts of money in a household. And these conversations have been about things that matter to these people. And I've left those conversations. I've spoken to veterans. And these conversations I have left with people saying, if you ever run for president, I would vote for you. And why do I bring that up? Because it doesn't make sense that I spoke to people that are on two ends of the spectrum or in the middle of the spectrum, and they all said I would vote for you because what I believe in and what I care about, I should only be able to reach these people or those people. But that's the media. That's the government. The government wants you to stay detached. The government, not everybody in the government, but the national government wants you to stay detached because you're controlled if you're detached. And you have to recognize that. The media wants you to stay detached because there's a story in that. If racism ever ended, then that's one less thing that they can put on the 5 o'clock news. See, mental health is a baseline of all of these things because if you have control over your mind and your mind doesn't have control over you, by the way, that was told to me when I was in college and my friend took their own life. I was told suicide is when instead of you controlling your mind controls you. And that never left me. Mental health is at the baseline of what's happening in America right now and a lack of faith in God. But these are the things that are really, really a crisis right now. So that's why I chose the topic, make your mind your friend. Because as much as we need support services, and it would be nice to have people to listen and people to help, the only person you can 1,000% trust with your life and your health is you. That is the one person that you can absolutely trust is you. And you have to understand that. The one person that you can trust beyond everything is you. And you're not necessarily going to get the right answer every time from other people. You're not going to get the right answer every time because people have agendas. You want to believe that the government is always working for your health, safety, and security, but that's not always the truth. You want to believe that your school is always working for your health, safety, and security, but that's not always the case. You want to believe that everyone in a position of power, be it a police officer, a pilot, a teacher, a bus driver, a principal, a president, a CEO, a COO, a director, a producer, a president. If I didn't say that already, I might have said that already. A congressperson. You want to believe that the people in power are always working for your benefit, but that's not always the case. You have to be your best friend, and you cannot be your own best friend if your mind is not your friend. And in order to make your mind your friend, you have to consistently every single day talk you through, find a process that works for you, seek help, and when you seek that help, be very honest with yourself, okay? Because we are impressionable. It's not just children. We are impressionable. And in weak moments, we have to differentiate between this person's trying to help me and this person's trying to hurt me. Because unfortunately, people that are having a mental health crisis, a mental health issue, people that are going through mental health struggles right now, not everybody that you seek to help you is going to help you. Some people are going to put you farther down the well. And it's sad for me to tell you that. I'm only telling you that because I've lived it. Some people will look at someone who is struggling to be their own best friend, and they will attack that person because that person at that moment is maybe not thinking in their best interest and maybe not taking care of themselves. And that to me is sick. It is sick to attack any human being at any given time. It is more sick to attack a human being at a time where they are struggling. You attack a human being who's strong, I consider that deplorable. You attack a human being who is really, really having a rough go at it, it's sick. And we consider children and the elderly to be, if you attack a child or you attack an old person, you're just a sick human being. Instead of realizing if you attack somebody in any which way of any age, you're a sick human being. Who says that if you attack a 30-year-old, that's okay because they're 30 and they should know better? You don't know the life that people have led. You never know when you walk into a grocery store, you never know what the person's experience that you're walking next to. And in that, it is imperative to always be kind and always be compassionate and to always be courteous, right? You cutting somebody off with your cart and just pushing in front of them could be the last straw of someone snapping and going, you know what? I've had so many people treat me like I don't matter, that I'm not seen, that I'm not important, that I'm not valued, and this is the last straw for me. And that's something you have to think about. At any given time, anywhere you are in the world, somebody could be at their last straw, at their breaking point. And it is not fair to be selfish. And people say, I'm going to take care of myself, I'm going to be selfish. That's not being selfish. That's taking care of yourself. It's never a good thing to be selfish. The Bible doesn't say, hey, don't be selfish most of the time, but in these moments, go ahead and be selfish. I don't know the Bible to ever tell you to be selfish. It tells you to be selfless, but to never be selfish. To never think, well, I can get away with it today because it's fine. If God was an inconsistent God, he wouldn't be God. If God loved us sometimes, if God cared about us sometimes, if God thought we mattered sometimes, if God was there to listen sometimes, he wouldn't be God. And we're fallible as human beings because we're never 100% consistent. All of us, even the best of us, even the Mother Teresas of the world, my G-Mama, There are moments where people make mistakes. There are moments where people are tired, frustrated, groggy, annoyed, and they might lash out in the moment. They might not want to listen in that moment. They might just be exhausted of whatever. Human beings are flawed. We are flawed. We're never going to be perfect. But that is not a crutch to excuse our behavior. And when we look at life today and we look at where we're heading in this world, it is very clear to see that selfishness has taken the place of selflessness, and that has affected a lot of things. So I'm not asking you to be selfish in taking care of your health. I'm asking you to self-care. I'm asking you to be self-loving. Not self-loathing, but self-loving. I'm asking you to hear yourself, to work to understand yourself, and to know that seeking help is not a bad thing. And just pay attention to when you're seeking help. Unfortunately, I can't just tell you to seek help. I have to tell you to seek help and monitor the help that you're seeking. And if you're doing it for a child and that child is, very young and impressionable and this and that, and like I said, we're all impressionable, but if someone is young and impressionable, a little kid that may not be thinking about this stuff, you have to do that. Because what you teach a child, see, the American society right now is that we're saying, oh, children think this. Oh, children believe this. Oh, children want this. Children have no idea of any of this stuff or any of these ideas. You're putting these ideas in these children's heads. Who says that a child wants any of these big, deep, multi-layered, frustrating? If it's confusing to an adult, imagine what it is to a child. And we're trying to throw these massive ideas on children saying, oh, well, they understand. No, they don't. You're trying to turn them into something. Or you just don't want to parent. There is a crisis of lack of parenting in today's America. There really is. There are parents that don't want to parent. And that is a problem. So when it comes to mental health, I don't think that it is ageist. I think mental health can affect anyone. I think it does. And I think that we have to monitor our loved ones and we have to monitor ourselves. And it is an everyday fight because my mind was not always good to me and I was not always good to my mind. And I'm 38 years old. But I can tell you that it took almost my entire life leading up to this point to get to this place. And it's a continued effort to work on that. Because there are things you're taught that you have to unlearn. And there's things that you were never taught that you have to learn. And when people say, well, Dan, how am I supposed to know right and wrong? How am I supposed to know who to monitor and who to check? My compass is God. There is no human being, no group, and no specific thing in this world that I can tell you to trust 100% of the time. But trusting God for 38 years has never led me astray. So I don't use faith as a crutch. I don't use God as an excuse. I run toward the only thing that has ever made sense to me and has never let me down. So in this mental health crisis that we live in today's world, and we probably lived in plenty before, we just didn't talk about it enough. Going toward God is never going to make it worse. I love you all. And I pray for every single one of you to make your mind your friend. Because your mind should always be working for you and not the other way around. It's difficult. It's hard. But putting in the work could save your life and or somebody else's. If you need help, seek it. And I can promise you that prayer and talking to God has never brought me farther down the well. God bless you, and we'll be back after this.
Hi, Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Appreciate you being here, hanging out with us Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And it is time to provide you with my top dog of the week, which I always love doing. Top dog of the week, proudly presented by K9 Camp Dog Daycare and K9 Kampground Dog Boarding. The only place, in my opinion, in central and upstate New York to bring your dog for short and long-term care. Top dog of the week, folks. Who is it going to be? Who will be my top dog of the week? Well, you know what, folks? I know that sometimes when we think we lose, somebody has to remind us that our effort brought about a victory. So my top dog of the week is probably going to be somebody that almost nobody picks. It's Isaiah Likely. Why did I pick Isaiah Likely? Well, Isaiah Likely put his body on the line in a Baltimore Ravens game yesterday. Toward the end of the game, went into the end zone, jumped up into the air, got hit, and slammed down hard on the ground. He laid on the field for a few minutes. He got up. He came off the field. 2 plays later, he didn't only come back in. He came back into the game. He caught a pass in the 11th hour and tried to get his feet down. And a toe was what separated the Ravens from tying the game with the Chiefs. So you might look at this and go, the Chiefs won. And 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, 10 weeks from now, in the playoffs, you're going, I don't even remember that game. I remember the Chiefs beat them. That's all I remember. But my top dog of the week is Isaiah Likely. And the reason why is because let Isaiah not be an example just for football players and sports in general, but to be someone that you look to. Are you willing to put everything on the line to go after what you want, like he did on that pass? And when you're injured, when you're down on the ground, when you are hurting, are you willing to get up? And as much as you're hurting figuratively, spiritually, socially, emotionally, economically, mentally, physically, will you come back into the game of life? And when you come back into the game of life and life comes right at you immediately, will you fight again? Isaiah Likely is an example of when life gets hard, how do you respond? And when life challenges you once and you respond to that challenge, and life literally is thrown right at you again, like that pass was thrown to him from Lamar Jackson, are you willing to go after it? And when you're just a hair shy of what you wanted, when you're almost there, do you QUIT? I can't even say the word because it makes me want to throw up. Or do you look at that moment in your life like hopefully Isaiah Likely is looking at that moment and saying, yes, my toe was on the line, but I was right there. So I'm not starting the next game from 100 yards away. I'm starting the next game knowing that I am at the precipice of greatness. Will you get up? Will you give your all, get up, go back in, and when you're called upon, will you respond with positivity, maturity, responsibility, and a fight greater than any fight that you've ever had inside of you? The Chiefs won, but Isaiah Likely, a backup, didn't act that way, didn't respond to life that way. How many of us are treated like second stringers, third stringers, or practice squad players? How many of us shut out the outside noise, say other people's opinions of me are none of my business, and how many of us come to play the game? You might look at it like he didn't score the touchdown. I look at it like how many people would live a life that Isaiah Likely did in those final plays of the game after having a great game. And when that one play doesn't end up his way, does he let that play define him? Or does he think about the fact that without him, the Baltimore Ravens could have gotten blown out? Do you look at your life as a sum of its parts, or do you just only look at the things that didn't go your way? Isaiah Likely shows us perspective, responsibility, fight, strength, endurance, positivity, and faith in himself and in others. So he is my top dog of the week because life is not about wins and losses. Life is about how you respond. Top dog of the week, Isaiah Likely. Give him some. Brought to you by K9 Camp Dog Daycare and K9 Kampground Dog Boarding. Your dogs need to go to the right place, and K9 Camp Dog Daycare is at 315-437-7110. They're located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, right across from BJ's and Seconds from Erie Boulevard. And down the road from there, you'll find on 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where each dog gets their cabin for longer-term care. And their phone number is 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. With that being said, the final piece of today's show is something that has been a long time coming. I always look forward to this. And picture in picture with me, coming up here in just a second, is Mr. Ross Turetsky. He's popping in here, and here he is. So Ross and I having a good time together as always. I know him as Ross, and as a brother, you know him on your screen as iPhone 29. But I'm very, very happy.
That was my dating profile name.
iPhone 29, baby. That's
iPhone 29. Watch out.
I feel like that there's a movie waiting to happen of like a futuristic thing where the person only goes by iPhone 29. So welcome to the broadcast, Mr. Ross Turetsky, fellow broadcaster and writer, a head coach, as well as a father, a husband, a son, and in my opinion, the best brother you can ask for. So with that being said, we're here to talk about a lot of things today. The NFL is back. We're on the heels of Ravens at Chiefs. College football early takes, and the road to the Major League Baseball playoffs comes through Wake Up Call here today. Brother, how are you?
I'm doing well. So many things to talk about with sports, and there's even Beetlejuice. I waited 36 years for a sequel to Beetlejuice. I was 2 years old when the first one came out, and now Michael Keaton's a lot older. He's 73 years old, but with that makeup on, still looks about the same glorious ghost he was back in '88. So I'm excited for Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. Say Beetlejuice one more time, and he's gonna come.
You said it 4 times.
Yeah.
I'm
hoping they make one day a third movie, but they have to work on it sooner than 36 years. I don't know if everyone's going to be alive at that point. And then you could call this the third movie Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. That would be a cool idea when this one's double Beetlejuice. So I think that would be a good marketing.
You've now called out to him many times. By the way, I want to let you know, you said this movie was made so many years later, and the makeup still makes Michael Keaton look like he looked back in the day as the character. Yeah. And I would respond to you with that by saying that makeup always makes you look better, no matter. They make makeup not just with him and this character, but there's something about makeup that can change around a lot of things and take many years off of your life. So it's not just Michael Keaton that's looking young, hip, and just like he made this movie back to back. I think makeup is deceptive, and not even makeup anymore. Just filters, just online filters. You can go on Instagram today and you can change your entire body in seconds, which is very scary to a man who is single in today's society.
You don't know who you're going to meet from one day to the next, and what's real, what's not, until you see the person in the flesh right in front of you. So there's a very easy to get catfished in this society.
Yeah, there's something I don't eat and I don't date, and that's catfish. So with that being said, let's jump into the NFL being back, the first topic of my conversation with fellow broadcaster and writer Ross Turetsky.
And Taylor Swift was back, if you saw her. I know fans either love her or hate her.
I'm trying to be one show on the air that doesn't talk about Taylor Swift at the NFL game. You just ended that for us.
Read the comments. These people, and I love how they called it. They were stereotyping football names. You know how they call like Karens, the annoying women who like call the cops on nonsense? They were calling these annoyed football fans Brads and Chads. I was reading the comment sections last night, and they were so enraged. They're like, I thought I was done with this. We have to go through a whole nother season with this nonsense. And like her or hate it, she's going to be back. As long as they're together, she's going to be there. They're going to show pictures of her. She had cowboy boots on, and she was ready to go, cheering on her guy.
I still think it's staged. I still think the relationship is fake. Because, by the way, I mean, how much did we hear about them in the offseason? Now that the season is back, I mean, I think he went to a concert or whatever, but now that the season is back here, she's back. Why? Because you can't sell Taylor Swift tickets during the offseason.
Yeah. And did you hear the rumor? It dropped the day of the first game of the season that she was going to be at, and they denied it. Apparently it was, I think, from Travis Kelce's media agency, whatever it is, that there was a breakup contract that leaked that supposedly September 28th, which is in 3 weeks on a Saturday, they're going to break up and try to find a way so everyone's liked and no one's going to get destroyed in the press. They denied it. They said it was fake, that it was an AI, it was a malicious attack. They're trying to find the perpetrators. But who knows? It's very strange timing that thing leaked the day of the first game of the season. And now you would think, just despite them, whether they're going to break up or not in 3 weeks, they're going to have to stay together at least until October to say, oh, technically it was a lie, because it would look really bad if they broke up the same day as that contract that's allegedly fake.
Yeah. If I've learned anything about the shadow this and deep state this and all those things, it's that even when things are extremely factually in your face true, people will believe what they want to believe. So even when you see this stuff and you see September 28th and they'll stay together to September 29th to say it's not real, people go, see, it wasn't real. And I'm like, no, you idiot. It leaked. It was real. And they're just doing what they can to try and make it not look that way. It is amazing. It is amazing in a sad way that in today's society, someone can look you in your eye and say, "You're not dying, you're totally fine," and then stab you in the heart and go, "Don't look at the knife. It's just a Band-Aid." I mean, it amazes me in today's America that people will listen to what you say more than pay attention to what you do. And people, I need you to remember something. Actions speak louder than words. Always and forever. You will hurt yourself a million times over if you think that words will ever trump actions.
Absolutely. It's what you do, not just what you say, because you can say anything. Everything sounds great until you actually show what's behind that with your actions. And it's very easy in this day and age with all the technology to be gaslighted. That's the term that a lot of people use. And I definitely could see that someone will look you in the face, say whatever you want to hear, and they're doing very covert, nefarious, bad things behind the scenes to stab you in the back. So, yeah, definitely, whether it be politics, media, movies, shows, sports, there's a lot of gaslighting going on. It's very hard to know what to believe. I trust in you. I believe in you, buddy, and I like all the stuff that you stand for. So it's great. Let's talk about real football. I wanted to get the Taylor Swift thing out of the way because of that ridiculous marriage. I read this breakup contract this morning. I'm like, what the hell is this? And then I was like, because I heard rumors about it last night, and this morning I'm like, this is nonsense. But it was a hell of a football game. And if the guy just had a little bit smaller feet, usually it's a good thing to have big feet. This was by a toe. If you remember, like Kevin Durant in the playoffs a few years ago when he was on the Brooklyn Nets with their super team that never won a title against the Milwaukee Bucks, he stepped on the three-point line by a toe. They lost in overtime to the Bucks. Giannis and the Bucks ended up winning a title. Nets never won a championship. This was by a toe. He steps on that white line because if that touchdown, and it's weird because the ref looked right at it, and I guess he didn't see it until they blew it up on the replay. He still called it a touchdown. If that touchdown would have stayed, you saw what their coach Harbaugh was going to do. He said, let's go for two. They were going to say, screw the overtime. They were going to go for the win. And I like their chances at the goal line with either Lamar Jackson or Derrick Henry to run the damn ball, just like I still never get over it as a Patriot Tom Brady hater. What Marshawn Lynch and the Seahawks should have done almost 10 years ago. They probably were going to win that game there. If that touchdown counts, they're going to ram that through, whether it be Lamar or Derrick Henry, who's a man amongst boys. They're going to probably win that game on two-point conversion. So you saw what was going to happen. Pretty much that ended the game. And it was the right call. His toe did touch the white line, so technically it shouldn't have counted. But for a second there, I'm like, oh my goodness, what a conclusion. And right at the buzzer it happened. Instead of seeing a thrilling two-point conversion to see who's going to win, game over. But it was a hell of a game. And likely, hell of a tight end. He did a great job in place of Mark Andrews last year when he got hurt for a number of games late in the season. Yeah. He's proven himself to be a heck of a player. And him and Andrews, if they're healthy together as a tandem, it's just more weapons for Lamar Jackson, the reigning MVP. Yeah. Baltimore is going to be a force to be reckoned with. I know we don't like him in our household because my wife's a big Steelers fan. She got great glee when she was asleep before the game was over. I had to tell her what happened because the game ended around almost midnight. She was happy to see Baltimore lose, just like when anytime the Patriots or Cowboys lose. I'm not a fan of those teams. So she was thrilled, but I'm saying watch out because Baltimore is dangerous and likely, and Andrews together as a tandem. And I know there was a few catches, a few throws. Lamar Jackson screwed up. There was two wide open throws he missed in that stretch drive when they were near the end zone.
He missed Zay Flowers in the middle of the end zone. Like it was, he sailed it to the center, and he just missed it. But I want people to go back and check the tape. I said many months ago, probably maybe even 2 years ago, if not at least a year ago, but I think it was probably 2 years ago. I said that the best tight end tandem in the NFL of 32 franchises is arguably Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. I have repeatedly banged the drum that Isaiah Likely is the best backup tight end in the country. Him and Mark Andrews are the best tandem in my opinion, and the world saw that last night. And to your point, if you want to get rid of the Taylor Swift thing, whether or not that contract is real, Beetlejuice. that's how you get rid of it.
That, or I guess you need, especially for playoff time, because Kansas City will find a way in the playoffs, you got to need a team that's going to knock off Goliath. So whether it be the Ravens, whether it be the Bills, anything, whether it be my Jets, if somehow we cross our fingers and Aaron Rodgers doesn't rip another Achilles in his first game back, you need a team to take down the Giants, just like eventually someone took down the Patriots. Yeah. They're the new juggernaut. They're the new dynasty going for an unprecedented 3 straight Super Bowls, which has never happened before. not in the Super Bowl era, before with the Packers when there's NFL titles, it was. You need someone to take them down, but otherwise else, you're going to see her right through, all the way through the Super Bowl in New Orleans in February. If you want to see less of her, at least come playoff time, someone's got to take down the mighty Chiefs.
Yeah, and let's get to your Jets here. I said the NFL must have it out for Aaron Rodgers because last year they put him on prime time, and he comes out in a game on prime time in a Jets uniform that stayed pretty clean, and if you bought it on eBay, you probably weren't believing that it was a game-worn jersey because he was out there for about 3 seconds. And
4 plays, 75 seconds. Don't shortchange my man.
75 seconds. So he's out there, and he's gone for the season, and the NFL says, okay, well, Aaron Rodgers is coming back. Let's put the schedule together. He got hurt on primetime. So let's put him on primetime in his return. Let's put him across the country against a defense who is one of the hardest hitting, toughest, and arguably best defense in the country. I will say this and suggest this. I am all about the United States flag. Have somebody else run out with it. Just for the sheer optics of seeing Aaron Rodgers run out onto the field in prime time with the flag.
That was the highlight of our season, though. That quick moment where it was patriotic on 9/11. He held up the flag. Yeah. Monday Night Football, the lights were flashing. Everyone was pumped. Like, oh, it's Super Bowl time, Super Bowl time. And then a second later, done for the season. Jets season's over because Zach Wilson was garbage. That was the highlight. He ran out with the flag, and 2 seconds later, season kaput. So I'm like, And the other scary thing is the guy who tackled him, and it's not necessarily his fault, and he said he's gotten horrible death threats, which is insane. The guy on the Bills who tackled him when he tore his Achilles now is on the 49ers. So deja vu on opening night against the Niners. His childhood favorite team, Aaron Rodgers, was the Niners, who decided to draft Alex Smith, almost 20 years over Aaron Rodgers. He wants revenge against the Niners. And now he's going to have to face the Niners, who are a great team, trying to go to another Super Bowl and win it this time. And the same guy who tackled him when he got hurt a year ago on Monday night, that's who he has to face on opening night. Deja vu? Let's see.
Yeah, well, and the thing, so again, don't have him run out with the flag. But of all things that you could do to Aaron Rodgers, you put him back on primetime. And in putting him back on primetime, you have him go up against one of the most difficult defenses in the country. I mean, to me, it's like, if you didn't think, if you thought last year, like, oh, he's not going to get injured here, you're looking at the 49ers thing, and you're thinking to yourself, yeah, this is a game where he's going to get hit really hard, and absolutely nobody is looking to go easy on this guy. So, I mean, my hope is that Aaron Rodgers has a full season. My hope is that the Jets with him, I do hope they make the playoffs. I want them to make them. I'm not a Jets fan in the comfort of my own home, but to me, I hope they make the playoffs. It's
been 13 years, buddy. The longest playoff drought in North American sports. 13 years. Yeah. So people who were born babies when they last made it are now teenagers and have never seen the Jets in a playoff game. That's madness. That needs to be corrected. And Aaron Rodgers, if he can't stay healthy, if he hurts his Achilles this year, I'm done. Right. Walk away. I'm done watching the Jets for the season. Because I'm like, this is ridiculous. He needs to retire on the spot. I don't want another year of, will he come back? Will he not come back with injury? I'm like, no, you're just done.
He won't. Well, he won't. Again, what did I tell people years ago when I was covering the Jets? They are a Broadway show. They're more. They don't have to be a football team. They're a Broadway show. Back in the day, I said the Jets.
The Tebow era.
I was like, the Jets don't have to do anything football-wise. If the Giants are going to be on the front of the New York Times, they just need to make sure they make it on the back. It could be because someone dressed up like a zebra. It could be because someone made out with a squirrel on the team and they found the footage, even if it was when they were a child. Literally anything and everything, they will utilize it to their advantage. The will they, won't they? I think that there is a better chance that Aaron Rodgers is on the next season of The Bachelor in certain instances that that he'll make it through the season, but I want him to make it through the season. Yeah. I want him to be there. I want him to be healthy. One of my good friends is the offensive coordinator, Nate Hackett of the Jets, and so I'm hoping for him. He spent a lot of time with Aaron in Green Bay. Aaron has come out in defense of Nate Hackett, and rightly so. And so, I'm excited to see what this season can be. I'm telling you right now, my prediction is that Aaron Rodgers will be on a season of The Bachelor. I'm telling you this right now because I can already see it in my head. And they're going to be like, when you get out of the limo, be careful not to twist your ankle. But this guy, my goodness, we joke around, but I'm praying for his health. I'm praying for his safety. I'm telling you.
Fingers crossed, buddy.
Yeah, but you know what? This is the sad part. You said it's been 13 years since the Jets have made it to the postseason. There are teams, including the Jaguars, who had a decade, and the Cleveland Browns, who are going, he ain't talking about me. So, the Browns made it, and I still and I'm asking people to find me this because I don't believe that this has ever happened, that there's ever been a team in the NFL that has had 5 starting quarterbacks in a single season and made it to the postseason. The Browns did that last year with Jeff Driscoll, Dorian Thompson-Bishop, as well as
Deshaun Watson.
It was Deshaun Watson, P.J. Walker, and Joe Flacco. So to me, I don't think it's ever happened, and somebody can go and find if it has. I don't think it has. But, you're a Jets fan. Yeah. I want Aaron Rodgers to stay healthy. I don't want to see him on The Bachelor sooner. I'd rather it be later. I think
give us 2 years. Give us at least 2 good years.
I think he has 2 years in him, and then I think my guy Jordan Travis from FSU is going to have a shot at being the starter. So give me a realistic view of the Jets. Now, I look at a healthy Aaron Rodgers, and I went through the season, and I could argue a 10 to 11 win team with a healthy Aaron Rodgers. Be realistic with me. New York Jets this season, looking at your division with the Bills, with the Dolphins, with the Patriots, with everything that you have, and in the AFC with the Ravens and the Jaguars and the Texans, and hopefully a healthy Anthony Richardson with the Colts, Bo Nix, who I think is going to have a good year with the Broncos, with, the Chargers being led by Jim Harbaugh, the Chiefs trying to three-peat here. Be realistic with me about the Jets' road to the playoffs.
I'll be as realistic as possible. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. Last year I drank the Kool-Aid that they were going to go to the Super Bowl. This is, magic. It would be like the first year of when Brady left New England to go to Tampa. They're going to win the Super Bowl. Great. I would just want Rodgers to be healthy. If Rodgers is healthy, they're going to be a playoff team in my eyes, because this team won 7 games last year with straight trash garbage at quarterback. Straight up garbage. Like, Zach Wilson was terrible. The other backups who played were terrible. They were trash. I would say curse words if I could. Just straight, horse manure. That's what they were. If you have functional quarterback play, which even their backup to Aaron Rodgers this year is Tyrod Taylor, who has experience leading a team and taking the Bills to the playoffs, would be a decent backup if he needs to play a few games. Hopefully he's not needed much. Hopefully Rodgers plays the whole year with Green Bay. I'm not going to say they're going to go all the way, but I think with a strong defense, especially if they can get Hassan Reddick to actually get out of his holdout and show up and play, which is still highly doubtful. The Jets have a great defense. They fix their offensive line if they can stay healthy. Again, health. They have a lot of offensive weapons. Rodgers is the key at quarterback. I would say this is a team that's going to win 10 to 11. I'll go with 11 wins. I'll say they go 11-6, and they challenge for the division. It's going to be them, Buffalo, Miami, fighting for playoff spots. New England, I'd be surprised if they turn around. New England, to me, is going to be garbage. They're going to be the new New York Jets this season. Maybe Derek May proves himself that he's the real deal, or he might be the next Mac Jones, who does it for a little bit and then gets thrown away. Now he's at the back of the Jaguars. Patriots right now are going to start journeyman Jacoby Brissett. We know his glass ceiling. He's just mediocre at best. I expect the Patriots under new coach without Belichick there anymore, and just with the team in turnover, they're going to have a rough year. They're going to win 3 or 4 games. The Jets need to beat the Patriots twice this year. You need to beat on the bad teams twice, because you have a lot of tough teams. And if you notice with the primetime games, the NFL hedged their bets, though. They threw the Jets and the Wolves again with all the primetime games. All their primetime games, unless they get flexed into them late in the season if they're a playoff contender, are in the beginning of the year, before Halloween. Just in case he gets hurt, they don't want to be stuck with a bad Jets team. They shove a bunch of primetime games, September and October, including on Halloween night. Smart. So I say the Jets are going to go 11-6 if Rodgers is healthy. They'll make the playoffs. Hallelujah, for the first time in 13 years, and challenge for the division title. But still, in the playoffs, anything can happen. I still don't see this team. I know in a one-game elimination, could they surprise the Ravens or a Bills or a Chiefs team? Possible, but I'm not going to drink the Kool-Aid and say they're going to the Super Bowl. I'm not nuts like that. I drank the Kool-Aid last year. I got humbled again when I saw how quickly the season could be over in a blink of an eye. I'll say the Jets go 11-6. They make the playoffs finally, and to me, that's success. If you think it's Super Bowl or bust, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. You're going to be a sad, disappointed Jets fan. If they make the playoffs, I'm at least happy with that. I want them to do well. I'd love to see them win a Super Bowl in my lifetime, but I also don't want to be crushed that they don't. At this point, you have to lower the expectations. Playoffs. If they don't make the playoffs, then it's a failure. The Aaron Rodgers thing's a failure. Robert Saleh needs to get fired at coach. Joe Douglas, GM, needs to get fired. They need to be. It's playoff or bust in my eyes. Super Bowl bust. That's a hard uphill battle, and I don't see them getting there right away. Maybe in another year if they can keep building and if they can keep Rodgers. But I say playoff or bust this year.
Yeah, I'm happy you didn't drink the Kool-Aid. It makes me happy to see that. I'm going to give you a promise right now. And I owe you a visit. I know that, and I'm hopeful that we'll be able to do that here very soon, because I have some opportunity to travel a little bit easier here in these coming weeks. So hopefully you and I can carve out some time. But I'm going to make a promise to you, and I'm going to make it on the air. If the Jets make it to the playoffs, I promise you, if you'll have me, that I will join you at the game.
I think that'd be great. I'd love to see it. If it's far away, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get there. Unless we get like a sugar daddy to hook us up with tickets and airfare and hotels. But if it's somewhat close,
Jets Chargers.
Yeah, like I said, I'd love to go there. Or I don't think the Raiders are going anywhere, but if they, with Gardner Minshew, who I do like, but if they went to Vegas, that would be awesome. But I don't know if I'll be able to go there during the season. But I would find my best. I know for sure if they somehow made the Super Bowl, which I don't see happening, I would find my way to get to New Orleans. I don't care. I'd sell whatever's in my house. Maybe I would have to sell my children. Who knows? I would get to that Super Bowl if they actually ever make it in my lifetime. Don't see it happening. My children are safe. But I would do that just to go to a Super Bowl in my lifetime. That's not going to happen. But I would try my very best to get. If it's a home playoff game, I'm 100% going to be there. I will try my best. Either way, I will watch the game and I will hope for the best. But I can't promise if it's in the middle of the country or something I can be able to do that. But I would love to go to the game.
I see you bringing your children to a bus stop, saying, "Someday you'll understand. Someday you will understand your father, and you'll understand why I did this." And then, as they get picked up from the bus, the next bus pulls into Vegas, and you're like, finally.
They'll understand one day.
Someday you guys will understand that the plight of a Jets fan overtakes my responsibility to be your father.
Sorry, but that's what it is.
Ross
but you're
is like, sorry,
Jets
not
fan.
sorry. Beetlejuice.
We need to find a way. By the way, I did see a funny meme that Pete Davidson, if you look at him looking like a psychopath with a tuxedo, and Beetlejuice now, Pete Davidson is what Beetlejuice looked like when he was alive before he died and became a ghost.
Yeah, they're like,
and when you see the bags under his eyes, it looks very similar. And Michael Keaton might actually look younger and healthier than a Pete Davidson who's like 40 years his junior. So it does actually make sense to me.
Yeah, you said that. There was the thing was up, and it was like, if anybody wants to know what Beetlejuice looked like when he was actually alive, and they showed Pete Davidson. Sad. So Jerry Hart put out a message here. He said, "How you doing, Ross?" So I wanted to get to that. Jerry is a avid supporter from day zero, from when I started my career in broadcasting almost 21 years ago at Marywood University.
Yeah.
So our campus security, the head of security. So he said hello to you. I wanted to allow you the opportunity to say something back.
I'm doing well. Got 2 kids, a wife. We live in Dallas, Pennsylvania by Misericordia, one of our main rivals when we played at Marywood for baseball. Now I live in enemy territory, but they just won a Division III national championship in college baseball. So something to aspire to as a Luzerne County Community College baseball coach. We're going to start fall ball this upcoming week, so excited for that. Have a whole new crop of new players. I try to emulate as much as possible our college baseball coach, my college coach, Coach Joe Ross and Jerry Davis. So I try to make them proud as much as possible, set a good example like they did, and just try to enjoy life and find a way to save money as much as possible. Groceries are expensive, everything's expensive, so trying to make the most of it with the kids. We went to Luzerne County Fair last night. That was fun. Went on a lot of fast rides. I try to hold in the vomit because I don't like fast rides, but I made it work with the little ones. They wanted to do it, and so we have good stuff. And the Bloomsburg Fair coming up, so a lot of fun things to look forward to, and another high school football game for Times Leader. I'm in Tunkhannock tonight. Crestwood Comets 0-2 versus the 1-1 Tunkhannock Tigers. 7 o'clock action. I'll have my article in tomorrow's Times Leader Saturday edition of the newspaper, so I'll post that online, and I also get the hard copy as well. Pretty cool feeling when you go to the store and you know your article's in the paper and you buy the newspaper with your article in it. I know it's only like 50 cents, but for me, I'm old school like that. I do that. I cut out my article and I collect all of them. So it's a cool thing, and we're very excited about that.
Yeah, with the
Hope
way
you're
that
doing well too, Mr. Hart. I remember you very well. I remember doing some communication projects with you and my brother, and you held the camera once in the back of my Subaru Legacy, and you were very helpful back in our Marywood days. I remember you very fondly.
Yeah, Jerry Hart. One of the best Harts out there. Pun fully intended. So, and he was the Hart, H-A-R-T, that I knew before Kevin Hart's H-A-R-T. So, much appreciation to Jerry as always. Ross, I would say this to you. Go out and vote in November for change if you don't like the fact that we can't afford anything. And why are eggs $3.77? They went from $6 all the way back to like $1 something. And this is me. This is literally me in the grocery store. I go up, I go, oh, I should get eggs. I look at the price, and if it hits a certain, I go, nope, guess I'm not eating eggs today. I mean, that's just how it is. That's how I live my life. And the thing is, and shout out to my veterinarian who yesterday brought in Lily, and she's in good health, doing well, thank God, always, and brought her in, and she was like, you know, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And like, I got the bill and I looked at her, you know, and I just said to her, I was like, of almost everybody that is price gouging and attacking and punishing people, my veterinarian didn't do that. And yet another reason why I love Lily's got a better doctor than I do. So, you know, I love bringing Lily. I want to ask Lily's doctor, like, will you see humans? Well, can you see us both at the same time? Like a little.
That's an episode of Seinfeld, buddy. Kramer did that. He had a bad cough and he went to a vet and he was like, "Oh, this is the dog sound. This is my sound." And they're like, "Can you help me? Can you give me dog medicine?" They tricked him and gave him dog medicine. So yeah, it's been done before.
Yeah, and maybe it can be done again, you know, just to make sure that we find the right doctors. But I mean, dude, it is absolutely crazy, the price gouging. Going through a drive-through, not everybody, because a very loyal partner that we have, Chick-fil-A Cicero, when you go through there, they don't ask you what sauce. They say, what sauce do you want? And you can name them all. And then you tell them how many. Well, I'm not going to name the other places, but you go through
not
other
50 cents per sauce.
Yeah, you go to other drive-thrus now. Oh, if you want sauce, we have to charge you for it. Oh, and then the guy will lean in. He'll go, "Yo, I'm not supposed to give you this sauce, but shh, don't tell anybody. Take one. If it was my manager and she saw me, we're gonna both get in trouble." I'm like, this isn't Shawshank, okay? Just give me my sauce. This is ridiculous. And the thing is, when I buy fries, what am I going to dunk it in? If I'm in my car, there's a good chance I'm not going home to necessarily eat this meal. So if I'm going to eat, like, you know, if I'm going to eat inside of my car on the road, provide me with the sauce. What are you doing with it? And this is what I said to my dad. You want to know how they can up minimum wage to $17, $20? By charging everybody for sauce. That's how they get it. Because then the business doesn't, if their bottom line is here, and they're paying people $14 an hour, and then it goes up to 17, their bottom line goes up here. So if this is what they're making and their bottom line went up, then they charge for the sauce times thousands of people across the nation, and all of a sudden, their bottom line is the same. You're paying more. They're allowed to give people a higher salary, and you are the one that's going to pay for it, because it always goes back to the consumer. So this is what I would say to the people that are like, I'm making $20 an hour to stand at the drive-thru. Let me tell you something, okay? There is no way in my right mind that I could be a drive-through person and not hand you sauce. Okay. And I always kind of like, I mess with it. So I go through the whole thing, I pay. And then I say, after I get the bag and I take my money and I get my change and all that stuff, because I still pay with cash because cash is king. Remember, folks, if there's ever a zombie apocalypse, you can't tap your Apple Pay. So I just want to let you know.
I don't walk around with cash. I know myself. You bug me. I have no cash on me. Don't even bother. I have a credit card that will be canceled in 5 seconds. So I'm the opposite. My wife still gets annoyed at me with it. I do not carry cash unless I know it's a cash-only business or like a fair. Like if you're going to like a carnival and you know it's cash only, that's the only time I have cash. Otherwise, it's credit card or nothing.
Cash is king, baby. So, but I mean, looking at cash.
I like to say it's 2024. Everyone should accept cards, Venmo, or whatever it is.
Cash and cigarettes. And by the way,
yeah, you're making a Shawshank Redemption 2 here with the
cash and cigarettes. Well, let me tell you this right now. We trade bodies for cigarettes. But, but you know, watch movies, folks. I'm being facetious. I don't smoke. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is very important for people to understand. Okay, because we want to talk about, like you just said, it's 2024. Why doesn't everybody accept credit cards? Here's the thing. Another way of a business getting their money back in the bottom line post-COVID, they now charge you to use their credit card machine. So have you been to a restaurant where they bring you the total and it's $50.86? And you, as an example, and you hand them their credit card. Now, when they give you the total, that's the total, $50.86. You hand them their credit card. They don't say anything about any credit card fee to use the machine or whatever. They leave with your credit card. They come back. It says $52.17.
Yeah.
And you say, well, it was $50.86. $52.17, and they go, yeah, we have a credit card charge. We charge you to use our credit card system. And I would say to them, whatever price is at the bottom of this thing is what I pay. If I'm paying anything else when you bring it back to me, you have now lied to me. You have now added this money on. I don't know if it's going in your pocket. I don't know if it's going to the credit card company. I don't know where it's going. So that is a thing where if you're paying cash, it stays $50.86. So I'm going to tell people always and forever, carry cash with you, even if it's just a few dollars. Carry cash with you at all times. Put it in your sock. Put it in your bra, you put it in your child's hat. I don't care what you do with it, but carry some type of cash with you to just be prepared to not have to pay that fee. And to all of the people that are charging for sauce, I see what you're doing. I know what you're doing. You're trying to keep your bottom line the bottom line. And to the people that have given me a sauce, looking around, going, yo, take it quick, take it quick, take it quick. It's like there's not a velociraptor. We're not in Jurassic Park, and we're not hiding in the kitchen. Just give me my sauce. And I had one guy bring me through an entire. I went to a place that we don't have in New York.
Names.
So,
we want to know. We want to know what this place is.
So I went to a Jack in the Box, and
all right.
I went to a Jack in the Box, and I saw that they had a Deadpool Wolverine meal. And I got it because I'm a child. And because I got it, I got a Deadpool topper for like an antenna. And so that is in my house and it was worth it. So I got this Deadpool Wolverine box and I get to the thing and the guy goes, hey, with the box you ordered, I can give you 2 sauces, but you asked for a third. And technically, it is against the rules for me to provide for you any sauce beyond this, and I have to charge you. But just so you know, I gave you another sauce, so I did you a solid, and I'm actually helping you out, and I could get in trouble, and you could get in trouble, but I'm helping you. And I was like, bro, this is way too much. This is way too much backstory. Just throw the sauces in there. Nobody's looking at it unless your boss at the end of the night counts every receipt in the register and every sauce to that receipt, who, aka your boss, is a maniac. Unless your boss is a maniac, sadistic person who legitimately hates their life and everything in it, you can throw 15 sauces in here and never the two shall meet again. Like, I am getting an order from Jack in the Box. I'm leaving this city tomorrow. They'll never find out. So they'll
Even
never
though
know.
that's what you think. You might have cost like numerous fast food employees their jobs. So you might have to be paying these people their money real soon, because they might, it's a sad world we live in that you might lose your job over that. But who knows? They might have gotten fired over that. So
but there
ridiculous.
is a place that does it, and then they don't do it, and then they bring it back, and you never really know. So you go through the drive-thru. I get my food. I get my money back, cash or card. Take it back, and I go, oh man, I forgot. Stupid me. May I have a barbecue sauce? And sometimes they give it to you, and sometimes they charge you, and then they'll give it to you again, and then they'll tell you they have to charge you. The last time I went through the drive-thru, the lady goes, I'm gonna have to charge you. And I went, that's okay. And when I said that's okay, I think she thought, oh, it's okay to charge you. And I went, that's okay, with my window, and drove off.
Just drive away. Yeah, at that point. You don't owe anything. There's not.
I will go to Wegmans and buy an entire thing of barbecue sauce for $2. You can keep your, $1 for two barbecue sauces that are this freaking big. That if I'm not generous and ration it off to myself, I'm going to be in trouble. Or you know what I'll do? I'll just park after I go through the drive-thru. I'll come into your restaurant and I'll just take whatever packets are out there. But yeah, shout out to the Chick-fil-A's of the world who give us as many sauces as we want. And for the most part, shout out to Taco Bell. When you order one taco, they give you 57 sauces.
Well, because they know what they're about to do to you. You're about to go to the restroom and be in horrible pain for the next 7 hours. So that's their way of saying, we're sorry, it's delicious food, but you're going to have some dietary issues. So that's their way of saying we're very sorry. And I want to say about Chick-fil-A, amazing food. Their chicken nuggets are banging. They're delicious. And I don't get paid anything by them. I love their food. The lines sometimes are out the door. I don't like waiting, but the food is great there at Chick-fil-A.
I'm like this because we are proudly partnered with Chick-fil-A. Say more, Ross. keep talking, buddy.
Hook me up with some free chicken tendies, and I will. I love the food. People go nuts for Chick-fil-A, I get what their stance is. I'd love if they were open on Sunday. That's just me being greedy. When I watch football, I want to eat some Chick-fil-A. But maybe I'll just get it on Saturday and reheat it.
But that makes you Jones for it. That makes being closed on Sunday, honoring the Lord, which so few places do, and thank you to the ones that do. To the people that do that, I love it, and it's true. Because no matter, you could not have gone to Chick-fil-A for 3 months, and you drive by a Chick-fil-A on a Sunday, and you're like, oh man, I really want it right now, and I can't have it. And Monday morning, your butt is like, Chick-fil-A. And to you, it's like it's a new place. When they're closed on Sunday and they open on Monday, there's something to that where it's like, oh my gosh, it's like it's new. It's like an oasis in the middle of the desert. There's a Chick-fil-A. It's like I've never been there before. I can go. And now when they hand me my sauce, I want to just hug them. I want to buy them a Christmas gift, because I will proudly say this up front and honest. If you are a place that has condiments and you do not provide them free of charge, let me be honest with you about something. I went to Wendy's because my dad wanted Wendy's. I ordered him a burger and fries, and I ordered a burger and fries. It cost $30.55 for my dad and I to eat a burger and fries. That's it. I got a bottled water. He got a strawberry lemonade. That at most should cost $15 total, not double the price. And I asked for a barbecue sauce, and the guy handed me one, and I almost slapped him. I did.
When you said the price, I was about to say, did you go to Five Guys? Because Five Guys is delicious as well, but that is astronomical, Five Guys. Oh, yeah. All their prices have doubled in the last 10 years plus. I remember in college, I'd get the little cheeseburger, which was decent size. It was only $5, $4.95. That little burger is now $10, almost $11. The big burgers are even more. So, and they have delicious fries out of the bag with the Idaho potatoes. Five Guys usually is a $30, $40 expenditure for fast food, which is a little nuts.
This is how I beat it. This is how I beat the Five Guys thing. When you order a burger, And when you order a regular cheeseburger, you get 2 patties, not 1, you get 2. So when I order a cheeseburger and I get my 2 patties, they have 20 different things you can put on it. And I'm just like, I sit there and I'm like, do it all.
Yeah,
do
load
it
it
all.
up.
And then I'll take it off and I'll make a side salad. That's how we do it.
Yeah. Yeah, you get some extra food that way. It's you have to do that, but that's
I got
being
mushroom.
very smart.
I'll take the mushrooms out of the burger, put them in a little container, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to cook these on the stove tomorrow with my steak. And then I take the pickles off. That's going to be a snack for later. And that's what you do. See, what I used to do at a place that I'll leave unnamed because I want to be able to do it again. And they took it away during COVID, those maniacs. But I don't know how they thought salad bar during COVID is it's a scary, scary place, even though all these people were breathing on each other in this highly populated area. But you could go to the salad bar, and you could get onion straws, pickles, lettuce, I think like maybe mushrooms, but all this stuff. So I get a whole thing of pickles. You could genuinely make yourself a salad, and you could get enough pickles that you didn't have to buy pickles in the grocery store. And the place that I was taking this from makes billions upon billions of dollars. And most recently, because they decided to go in a direction that I think is insane, this company has allegedly at this point lost somewhere near $200 billion for making decisions we didn't ask for. Their response, to charge you more. So they made bad decisions. They screwed up. They backed the wrong horse, and now you're paying for it, even though the thing that they did that cost them money probably pissed you off. And I've talked to conservatives and liberals, and they have told me alike, we are not happy with this place. We don't like what they're doing. We don't like what they stand for. And what is this place doing? Charging you more. Because I just went and bought something from them, and I was like, oh, I think the price is lower than it was last year. And again, like when they take your credit card away and then they have that charge, they give me the price, I click on it, I go through the whole thing, I get to the end, $50 in taxes bumps the thing up. And I was like, why don't you just give the price at the beginning? You don't say the price is $800 and then you get to the end of the line and it's $901.73.
It's messed up. Blink twice if it's Ruby Tuesday. Because they had a salad bar. I don't even see Ruby Tuesdays anymore. They pretty much have gone out of business. But I'm like, I know they had those straws you're talking about. And I'm like, I think you might be talking about the Ruby Tuesday right there. I don't know.
I'm talking about a place that is very, it's considered it used to be the happiest place on earth. Now it's the most annoying, strange, why are they price gouging? And why have they gone to a place where Buzz Lightyear isn't Tim Allen anymore? That's the place I'm talking about.
He will be back. There will be a Toy Story 5. So yeah. I did hear like 2 years, and Tim Allen will return to his rightful perch as Buzz Lightyear. So I'm happy about that. By the way,
the only movie that he wasn't allowed to be in, which was the movie that was named after his character, bombed. Yeah. And there was a bunch of propaganda in that movie. By the way, I told Ross that Thor Love and Thunder had Disney ideology that is new ideology that they didn't necessarily have in the past. I told him it has nothing to do with the characters. It has nothing to do with the movie. It is part of a different culture. It is propaganda. It is trying to put impressions on children and do all this stuff. I told Ross, and Ross and I don't always vote the same way, and I told him going in, look out for this egregious party foul. And at the end of the movie, I didn't even say a word. Ross looked at me, was sitting on my right, and he goes, yeah, what you were talking about, even I can tell you it's a little bit too much.
It was a lot. I know when they had the Hercules thing and...
oh, yeah, they said this movie's for children, so we're not going to... My buddy argued, he goes, they don't show blood because it's a movie that's meant for 6-year-olds, yet they had a 5-minute scene about orgies, and then they had a bunch of sexuality en route to go fight the big bad in the climax of the movie, they had a 2.5 to 3 minute scene about sexuality that had nothing to do with the characters or the movie.
I knew when you saw that with like half naked like Hercules people and like eating grapes and doing like naked fighting and there was like rainbows blast. I knew you were gonna have an issue with it. So I just felt there's certain things you get triggered. You're like, this is ridiculous. I just was like shaking my head. I'm like, I know Dan's gonna mention it. He's gonna say it. It's getting too woke for him. I get it.
Well, no, the thing is it was a lot, and being the uncle of your wonderful children, I was
They were in
like,
attendance for the film.
yeah, I was sitting here going like, there is no purpose for these kids having to see any of this stuff. And my thing is, listen, I again am an open-minded person, and I love people for who they are, not what they are, and I don't judge people and put them in groups based on their sexuality or their gender or their color or their nationality. I literally am, if you're a good person, you can hang out with me. If you treat people like crap, you can, I'll pray for you, but I'm not going to put myself around negative behavior. I don't stand for racism, prejudice, sexism, ageism, any of that, any type of ism. Really, in a negative way of any kind, do I stand for, or negativity for the sake of negativity. So, but even you said in this movie that it had gotten to a point where it was senseless, it was meaningless, and it didn't add to the movie. And most people agree with me that Thor 4, Thor Love and Thunder, is arguably the worst movie that Marvel has ever created in over a decade of making movies. It is very easily probably the worst movie ever made by Disney / Marvel Studios.
In my mind, it's still better than Thor: Dark World. The second one, that was straight garbage. I'm sorry, Thor 2, Thor: Dark World is horrible. I think Eternals was garbage. I just saw Shang-Chi on Disney Plus with my little boy. We like that. That was good. We like that one. But no, I get it. It was not a good movie. I actually think what they missed out a chance because Christian Bale, I thought, did a pretty good job with his limited role as the Butcher bad guy.
Yeah.
He could have been great if they gave him a larger role, more to do. Because
if they allowed the Butcher to actually butcher? Is that what you're saying?
He'd knock it out of the park. Instead, they were throwing nonsense on the screen.
Why didn't you just allow Christian Bale to be himself? And why didn't you make the villain Shane instead of Thor?
Just let him unleash Christian Bale because he's an amazing actor.
He unleashed on the lighting director in the Batman in Batman.
Oh no, that was
stuff.
Terminator Salvation. That's Terminator Salvation.
He unleashed on Shane the lighting guy more than he was allowed to unleash on lowercase g gods as the God Butcher. So it made no sense. The best part of that movie was seeing Eternity, but beyond that, the movie made no sense.
Yeah.
And by the way, folks, an entire. They asked the world of lowercase g gods to help them fight the lowercase g god Butcher, and they said no. However, a team of children, empowered with the electricity of Thor, were able to, without a scratch or a bruise, defeat the lowercase g god Butcher by shooting rays through the eyes of a toy stuffed animal rabbit. What a stupid like who like
and Dan's not making that up. That's real. And I get
I'm not making it up, but the thing is the director of that movie, Taika Waititi, he goes, I'm not doing any more Marvel movies. I'm like, nothing like telling people who are firing you that you quit.
I don't think they wanted him. And what's funny is he directed the one before, Thor Ragnarok, and that was good. It was a good mix of action and comedy. This one was over.
It was okay. The saving grace of that movie was having a Hulk sound like a big dumb baby. Yeah. That was your saving grace.
But I think the problem with that fourth one was it was just trying to be over the top and be stupid with nonstop jokes and not even taking it serious that his beloved Jane was dying of cancer. And it was just, let's make jokes the whole time, not utilize our villain, and then just put weird stuff on screen. So I agree, it was garbage. But even as garbage it is, to this day, till my final days, I will still tell you, Thor: Dark World is straight trash and it's worse than Thor 4. I believe this with all my heart. Thor: Dark World is, in my mind, the worst Marvel movie ever created.
Well, I will disagree with you. We will agree that it's Thor, but I will disagree with you on that.
It's trash. Yeah. And I will say, why Thor cry? I will say that for all the Deadpool Wolverine fans out there. Why Thor
I want to know why Thor's crying as well. But, here's the thing.
Because he was made to watch Thor: Dark World. That's why.
He was made to be in a movie that literally had no jump-off point at any given time. And by the way, in Thor: Love and Thunder, they promote Satan. If you listen closely, Zeus says, like, who is the winner of the most souls taken? and off camera he yells Satan. So yet another, and by the way, Disney now has multiple instances that Disney has promoted Satan to the world. And they have done it with a movie title that's out there. They have done it in the Santa Claus TV show, which I saw. I thought it was a joke, so I had to look it up for myself, and I saw it. And they did it in Thor: Love and Thunder. So this wonderful culture that's cost Disney $200 billion, it's not working, Disney. And maybe, just maybe, if you tried to think about God, family, and community, and maybe backed away from Satan and the almighty dollar, let me just put it to you like this. Believe in whatever you want to believe, but when society turns away from God, it deteriorates at an alarming rate. And when society turns toward God, all of a sudden, the air becomes more breathable. So there's this weird coincidence that when you back God and not everything on the other side of God, things seem to work out for everybody. Ain't that something strange? But Ross and I started talking about the NFL. Then we got to Beetlejuice.
We
Now
talk
got
about
to
Taylor
Thor: Love and
Swift,
Thunder.
Beetlejuice, and now we're somehow rehashing a movie from 2 years ago, Thor: Love and Thunder. How the hell did we get here? I was talking about Ruby Tuesday, Blink Twice, and about the straws, and about extra condiments with another barbecue sauce, and about you're begging for free barbecue sauce. Somehow we got the Thor at 4 and how much of a garbage movie it was. I don't know how we got on this tangent.
Yeah. I will tell you this. Every time you listen to us, we talk about the more important things in life. We'll be back here to talk about college football and the road to the Major League Baseball playoffs right after this fast break. Or we'll find our way to a topic that neither one of us prepared for, but are very vehemently passionate about. Here's a message from Renee from Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Brian and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Brian's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here is a special message from Brian Bruno, owner of Servomation Refreshments Incorporated.
I grew up in the family business. Had the experience of working for a national food service company with thousands of employees, and as much as I enjoyed the experience I had, there's something about owning my own company and being able to change the things I saw wrong with the industry firsthand, which is why I moved back to my hometown in Canastota, New York to launch Servomation. It was back in 2007. When we first started the business in '07, really you didn't find any machines with credit card readers. There's a lack of variety in machines. You got stuck with basically whatever the vending company wanted to sell that day. There's a lot of inefficiencies in the business, and those were all things that we saw as opportunities, both from a customer level to improve and from an operating level to be more efficient. We've really been at the forefront of introducing retail technology into our space. We were doing self-checkout back in 2009 before it really became a national phenomenon. The whole point of it isn't to just improve the customer experience. It's to make it feel more like a retail environment where people don't have to be afraid of what they're buying behind glass. They don't have to be afraid of not being able to see the ingredients of the packages. It was an easy transaction from that standpoint. If we were to reinvent something, we wanted to make sure what we were making looked and felt more like a deli and not like something that you would traditionally see in a vending machine. I was tired of hearing for years the customers say the wheel of death because the vending machine would circle around with the same tuna salad in it. What we wanted to do was it really changed the perception of that food. So allowing customers to touch it, allowing customers to feel the weight of it, allowing customers to see the freshness of it, and also the variety of it really helps them change the perception and ultimately the value of what we bring to them. The point of differentiation you have to make is either in value or the quality. And I think on both of those fronts, Servamation has really, in large part, changed that value system for employees. So they no longer have to worry about bringing their food from home or having to leave their desk during the day and rush out to get back in time for their break to end. We're bringing something that they can count on in their break room every day, and they know it's going to be there, they know it's going to be fresh, and they don't have to worry about it being sold out or something that they don't enjoy. We've also heavily invested in flavored water machine, so you can get a glass of water with a fresh piece of fruit in it, along with bean to cup coffee machine. So there's not a day that goes by we're not surprised when we get customers that call us and say, we didn't know you could do all this. We're really lucky to have a strong group of dedicated employees. Most of our employees have been with us since inception. They're family to us, and people like doing business with people they like and trust. And I think the same thing goes for employees. In a day and an age where there's a lot of corporations that just look at an employee as a number and don't get to know them, that's just not the way I was raised or how I like to do business. So we're a little old-fashioned. We like getting close to our employees. We like knowing how we can help them. We like knowing how we can improve their lives, adjust their schedules, whatever it may be to help improve their quality of life. And we think in the end that makes for a happier employee. We're fortunate enough to have really grown over the last several years, and from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to Connecticut, we really do have a strong connection, even though we're not in the rooms every day with these employees. There's not one single employee that we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every single day really excited to surprise our customers in a good way. The one thing I can tell you is I think that every one of our employees and every one of our customers will continue to be at the forefront of every decision we make.
Find out how Servomation can help you and your business by going to servomation.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, hanging out with you where sports meets life, and here on your Friday, hanging out with my buddy Ross Turetsky. We are picture in picture, and promise you that we're talking about college football. So, hey, Ross, let's get.
That's what you said. I don't believe you're gaslighting your audience. There. Be truthful. We're going to break down Marvel superhero movies instead.
Don't you dare say I gaslight. Ain't nobody gaslighting over here. I've been gaslit, but ain't nobody lighting. I know better than to stand next to a gas tank and put a match out there. I ain't stupid. But I will tell you this, Ross. So getting into college football, we are in a place right now where we're technically in week 2. For some of you that believe...
Week 0. Remember week 0?
Yeah, I was going to say, some of you that believe in weird science, week 0 doesn't exist. As a child, you and I, and many of us, were taught that 0 means nothing.
Yep.
And Florida State wishes that was true. So,
well, they weren't good in the first or second week or whatever you want to call it, because they got their butts kicked at home as well on Monday night.
Yeah. So here's my question to you. Florida State.
Yeah.
What is your take on my theory that the College Football Playoff Committee is partially responsible for the potential firing or hot seat, at least, of Mike Norvell, not letting them in with the injury to Jordan Travis, and not letting an undefeated team in who, mind you, won the ACC championship without Jordan Travis, doesn't get into the college football playoff. Unprecedented, because they wouldn't do that to Ohio State. They wouldn't do it to Alabama or to Georgia or to Michigan or to Notre Dame. But they did it to Florida State. And when they did that, Jordan Travis was already out. A bunch of guys transferred out of Florida State. Guys chose to go to the NFL. So when this team came back this year without Jordan Travis, you can argue and say not making it to the college football playoff could have potentially affected the decisions of those who went to the NFL early, as well as those who transferred to other schools. And now the team's 0-2. So do you think the College Football Playoff Committee is at fault for anyone now looking at Mike Norvell thinking maybe we should get rid of him?
I only think partially, because it would have definitely helped his reputation if deservedly so they made the playoff last year. So they put you with the big boys. You're considered one of the marquee coaches, like the Nick Sabans of the world and Debo Sweeney, and then you're constantly going to the playoffs. So that just puts you in an upper echelon of coaches. So I get that. But I also, unfortunately at the time, it was a 14 college football playoff, which it never should have been. Should always at least have been 12. Starting this year, it's going to be a more fair race. It's not going to be fully fair because there'll be still some teams that get screwed over. But there's 12 teams this year. And the truth is still, they came back, and I know a lot of their players were gone, so that wasn't fair. When they came back for that bowl game against Georgia, who also wasn't allowed to repeat their national championship, Georgia destroyed them. But this year they came back and it's hard with preseason rankings when they haven't played a game yet. There's no preseason college football. There's just some scrimmages. That they were the 10th ranked team in the country. And they got to face two ACC schools that they should be better than. Mm-hmm. And they have struggled. I know they've lost lots of players, but I think if he recruited properly, and I think as good of Coach Mike Norvell is, he should have gotten this team ready to play. They blew a lead, lost to a Georgia Tech team that I don't think is good. I know they're going to give Syracuse a tough time on Saturday, but I think Syracuse will beat them on tomorrow. They lost in Dublin, Ireland. I don't know if they were distracted or if they took the game lightly. Yeah. And then if you lose to Georgia Tech in week 1 or week 0, you come back at home for your home opener on Labor Day. Everyone's pumped. They're like, that wouldn't hurt you too much, especially in the college football playoff world now, where one loss is not going to destroy you anymore, like it did in the past. But then you embarrass yourself against Boston College. And Boston College, maybe they're a little bit better now. They have O'Brien, the head coach, who used to coach at Penn State, and was Tom Brady's offensive coordinator with the Patriots, Bill O'Brien, and he's leading Boston College, and he's going to probably lead them to being a better team, more competitive. Yeah. They still, to me, Florida State is a better team than Boston College. At least they should be. They at home, whether they took it for granted or whatever the case was, they came in there almost like we'll just put our pads on, show up, and that's enough. We're going to win. They didn't. They got embarrassed. They tried to come back late. It was too late. And now they're 0-2, and they might bounce back and win some games this year. I'd be shocked. They're not going to lose every game. I'd be shocked if they're not at least bowl eligible. They're going to at least win 6 or 7 games. But at this point, they've thrown away pretty much any legit chance at a college football playoff spot. And that's not what it all matters anymore. But that's disappointing when you come in as the 10th ranked team in the country. You're looking for revenge after you were wronged by the playoff committee last year. Yeah. And now that doesn't have to happen anymore because it's not 4 teams anymore. It's up to 12. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a motivational factor, if they lost too much talent last year, or whatever it is, or they took their opponents for granted. But they had 2 conference opponents, Georgia Tech and Boston College, and they lost both of them. And they got embarrassed in their home opener against Boston College. And as much as I would blame partially Mike Norvell being on the hot seat because he's not given the clout of being on a playoff team and possibly win a national title like he could have been last year, it's not all the college football committee's fault because he had a chance to rewrite history this season, and they've not shown up. I don't know what it is. Hopefully they rebound, start playing better starting this week. But it's embarrassing. And as much as he struggled, but because he's such a big-time name and he's the biggest alumnus out there, everyone talks about if he's not going to go to the NFL and if he doesn't want to stay in Colorado once his son gets drafted next year, what about if Deion Sanders might get a phone call and Florida State might decide to bring him home to the alma mater to coach them? Because win or lose, he brings publicity, he brings notoriety, and maybe bring primetime back to Florida State. That might be the way to go. And it's not fair to Mike Norvell, but Mike Norvell very possibly is going to be coaching tooth and nail for his job after almost going undefeated last year in the regular season and competing for a national title. Getting wrong last year, he might be out. And Deion Sanders, I would not put it past him if his son gets drafted this year, which looks like it's going to be the case, he's done. Deion might not want to stay in Colorado anymore. And whether Deion struggles in Colorado or not, they barely beat a Division I AA football team in their opener last week. I could see him, if not Jerry Jones, go crazy and let him be coach of the Cowboys if they fire Mike McCarthy, who's on the hot seat, or if he comes back to Florida State and gets the job done. Because I would have loved to see Deion get that chance before Mike Norvell got the opportunity a couple of years ago. Norvell's a good coach, and he'll be up on his feet either way. But it's not really fair to him. But at this point, if he doesn't get them turned around, I could definitely see him losing the job, unfortunately. And the cries for Deion coming back to Florida State are going to get louder and louder with every week if they continue to play this poorly.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Mike Norvell, when he came in from Memphis, and I had covered him for his entire 4-year time there, I told Florida State fans to just let him coach.
Yeah.
Just let him coach. Well, who's this guy? He's coming from Memphis. Trash. And I said, let him coach.
Yeah.
And he sent a bunch of guys to the NFL. Just let the guy do his thing. And he goes out there and he does his thing. And we see the success that he had. And we see the work that he's done over the time that he's been at Florida State. Now, Florida State, mind you, under Bobby Bowden, and I was talking about this on my pregame show on Tortora and Elford with Isaac Elford about Georgia Tech at Syracuse and then like the bigger picture. And I spoke on the fact that Bobby Bowden was the head coach of Florida State from I think it was back in 1976. He was with the team.
It was almost like Joe Paterno. He was there for 40 years.
Yeah, he was there for 33 years. He was there from 1976 to 2009. He was with them when they were independent and then going into the ACC. And I think the numbers that I read is that the first 9 seasons that Florida State was in the ACC under Bobby Bowden, in their first 9 seasons from 1992 forward, had no less than 10 wins each of those seasons. Fighting for national championships, going to the Orange Bowl, which is the bowl that the ACC would go into historically. The ACC champion, if they didn't go to the national championship, would play in the Orange Bowl. And so, I mean, you look back on the history and then you say, okay, in 2009, Bowden was, 5-6. And then Jimbo comes in. Jimbo does a great job. They win the last BCS national championship, which was with Jameis Winston. And after that, Jimbo leaves and Willie Taggart comes in, who I've gotten to know over the years. Willie got a year and a half, and I think he inherited a locker room that had issues. He gets blamed for it. He gets bought out. They bring in Mike Norvell, and now this team is 0-2, and people are saying, well, what the hell is wrong with this team? But again, the majority of the ACC media voted for Florida State to win the ACC this year. I did not. And I didn't because I can't vote for, and I'm not saying they did, but I call it the Florida State hangover, as they were good last year and they got screwed, so let's put them back there. Where I'm sitting here going, they don't have Jordan Travis, they lost guys in the transfer portal, they lost Jerry and Jones and Jared Verse and so on to the NFL, and it's not the same. So I can't do it, and I could not pick DJ Uiagalelei in his first season in Florida State and first season back in the ACC, being a newcomer to the team. I couldn't put that much in believing that he was going to bring the team to win the conference. So those are my reasons for not choosing. And then I talked to you about the fact of guys that left Florida State. I'm going to go back and I'm going to go to the beginning of January of this year and talk to you about this. So Bless Harris, he left, offensive tackle, left for TCU. Then we saw Dylan Brown Turner, linebacker, leave for UTEP. Dennis Briggs, defensive lineman, left for Illinois. This is all leaving Florida State. Gilbert Edmond, defensive lineman, left for South Carolina. Rodney Hill, running back, left for... Oh, this is the Rattlers. I gotta try and... Florida A&M, the Rattlers. It had to come to me. And then seeing Beyond that, we saw, I want to make sure I get everybody here, Quayshawn Sapp left Florida State inside offensive lineman for East Carolina. We saw Ayabami Tafasi, defensive lineman, leave for Georgia Tech in conference. We saw Goldie Lawrence, wide receiver, go in-state and leave for Florida State for UCF. We saw Tyler Keltner, kicker, leave for Oklahoma. Beyond that, we saw Thomas Schrader, offensive tackle, leave for Appalachian State. We saw A.J. Duffy, quarterback, leave for San Diego State. We saw Preston Daniel, tight end, leave for Maryland. Vandrevius Jacobs, wide receiver, left for South Carolina. Greedy Vance, cornerback, left for USC. It's a bunch of guys that jumped into the portal and vacated Florida State outside of the guys that went into the NFL draft. This is not the same team. Now, you can look at some of these and say, Dan, these guys left, and maybe this guy didn't have this much playing time. Maybe this guy didn't do this. Maybe this guy didn't do that. But they were supposed to be the future, right? They were supposed to help out this team. So Florida State, to me, did get screwed last year. But they got a different quarterback. They have different players. And I honestly, my gut told me this DJ Uiagalelei thing, he could get replaced during the season. Yeah. And that's the other part of this, is the backups, redshirt freshman quarterback who played sparingly last year due to injuries to the starter and the backup. And then you look at two true freshmen. So Florida State might be better off playing a redshirt freshman or a true freshman quarterback, because the DJ project I didn't think was going to work. It's not working. I know they're 2 games in. And who are they playing this week? At home? The Memphis Tigers. Mike Norvell's old team. And I'm telling you this right now, Memphis was picked to win the American Athletic Conference, and Memphis is no slouch. I don't know if they're outright, in my mind, the champion of the conference preseason going in, like the majority of the media picked, but I will tell you this. There is a very realistic world where Florida State is 0-3.
And that will look really bad. And I also, the quarterback, he's gone on a few programs. I remember him from like Clemson days when he was with Trevor Lawrence there, like 2 or 3 programs at least for DJ. And he's just been a journeyman in this world where you just can switch colleges left and right every 2 seconds. He doesn't look like the answer. He's struggling. At this point, if they are going to end up losing, they might as well get them up to speed, the young kids, and teach them how to learn under fire in a game-like situation so they're ready for next year. And you can build and see, do we have to recruit our next star quarterback, or do we have one in-house? He just has to get game reps, because I don't think DJ is the answer. I don't think he's been the answer in any of the places he's been so far.
Yeah, and the other thing I want to get to really quick before we got to Major League Baseball is, how strange is it for you to watch a Stanford game on the West Coast at night and see ACC? How weird is it to watch Oregon play and see Big Ten on their jerseys? How are you dealing with this realignment and knowing that Arizona State is in the Big 12, or the fact that when Baylor visits Utah this week, it is a conference game?
It just seems so odd. Like, I saw like Oregon Ducks, their first Big Ten opener last week, and University of Washington and the Huskies. I'm like, these are big parallel schools. USC, at some point, Penn State's going to have to, who looked amazing against West Virginia. Their new offensive coordinator had them clicking Drew Aller at quarterback, and really seems to like they're going to be a very aggressive offense and put the pedal to the metal, which is something Penn State needed for years. But now they have these new rivals, USC, Oregon, Washington, all these teams from cross country, thousands and thousands of miles away. And I'm like, it's odd. It's going to take me a while to get used to. I don't know if I ever will fully get used to it. To me, the Big Ten is Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, Nebraska, Wisconsin. It's just odd to see these new rivalries. And at times, I think Penn State is going to take on Ohio State this year, but they're not taking on Michigan. They're not going to. They used to. It was hard for Penn State to get through the gauntlet of Michigan and Ohio State. They're not always going to face both teams anymore every single season because of these new teams in the Big Ten and these other conferences. It's very odd. It looks strange. It's weird to think that these are going to be new rivalries. I'll get used to it. I love watching it, and I get maybe rivalries don't mean as much anymore now with the expanded playoff system with 12 teams. And I'm excited with that new playoff system. I think it's really cool that the teams that don't get the first round byes, they're going to get the higher seeds to get to host a college football playoff game on campus. I can only imagine how crazy. It's such a great environment. When I went to Happy Valley for a game with Penn State when Saquon Barkley played there a few years ago, can you imagine how nuts that crowd's going to get when they get to host, if they get to host the college football playoff game, the do or die situation for the first time ever? That's going to be an amazing football atmosphere, college or pro. It's going to be hard to rival that. But it's very odd to see these new rivals. I'm old school with that. I'll adapt to change. But same thing with Syracuse. I was used to them with basketball, the Big East tournament. When I stayed at your house for that 6 overtime game with Johnny Flynn against UConn, it's weird to see that these powerhouses, that's not a conference matchup anymore, whether it be for football or basketball. Syracuse and UConn, which I think is a gigantic rivalry, they're not supposed to be rivals. They're not in the same conference anymore. To me, Syracuse is always going to be a Big East team to me from back in their football days with Don McNabb and Marvin Harrison, and basketball days with John Wallace, Jerry McNamara, Carmelo Anthony, Big East tournament at the Garden in New York City, Madison Square Garden. It's weird, and I don't know if I'll ever fully get used to it.
No, and I, and this is the thing, is we're 11 years in, going on 12 years for Syracuse joining the ACC, and people still feel like they're a Big East school. So it's not, we're over a decade, and it still doesn't make sense to people with Syracuse being there. So just to tell you what realignment can look like down the road, I do want to correct myself. Even though they are conference teams, because it was pre-planned, the Utah-Baylor game is not counting as a Big 12 conference game, nor is the Week 3 game between Arizona and Kansas State. But I do want to share this with you. The Big 12 revealed their tie-breaking policies for their tiebreaker, for the conference title game, the top 2 teams, as conferences have done away with divisions. It used to be that if you got big enough to form, you had to have 12 teams in order to have a conference championship, and the teams had to be broken into divisions. Now, it's better if you don't have divisions, and it doesn't matter how many teams you have. It also doesn't matter your geographical footprint, and it does, like the Atlantic Coast has Pacific Coast teams, and it doesn't matter your numbers because the Big 12 is the Big 16, even though they haven't changed it. But I'm going to give you this because this just came out this morning actually, within the last 12 minutes. The Big 12 has determined its tiebreaker policies for the top 2 teams that will play in the Big 12 championship, which is brought to you by Dr. Pepper, noon Eastern time on December 7th on ABC. It's going to be at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, the home of the Dallas Cowboys in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic, and a place that I'm very blessed to have been at before. So this is the tiebreaker. There's 7 different tiebreakers. So A, the tied teams will be compared based on their head-to-head record during the season. B, the tied teams will be compared based on win percentage against all common conference opponents. So if Arizona and Colorado both played Utah, Kansas State, and Baylor, what's their record against them? If Arizona has a better record than Colorado against those common opponents, then they're going to go in. C, the tied teams will be compared based on win percentage against the next highest placed common opponent in the standings, based on the record in all games played within the conference proceeding through the standings. The tied teams will be compared based on combined win percentage in conference games of conference opponents. E, the tied teams will be compared based on total number of wins in a 12-game season. F, the representative will be chosen based on highest ranking by Sports Source Analytics team rating score metric following the last weekend of the regular season games. Or G, and my favorite, if you can't figure it out the other 6 ways, it'll be decided by a coin toss. So,
that's that. You're just throwing up your hands like I don't know anything else. Let's just fling up a coin, heads or tails. You've run out of answers at that point.
Beetlejuice. So,
Beetlejuice. Why is he not here? I was promised Michael Keaton would be in my house and be my best friend.
You were promised Michael Keaton. You're promised Michael Keaton or Pete Davidson. So with that being said, here's my question to you. Finishing up with Ross Turetsky, fellow broadcaster and writer, under promise and over deliver. As I always tell you, that we go 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern time, and I don't know the last time I ended at 11 o'clock 2 days in a row. In years. So my question to you, Yankee fan, tell me, will the Yankees between now and the next 20 whatever games that are left, will the Yankees finally detach themselves from the Orioles, who they've been tied with, a game ahead, a game back, a half a game of separation? Will they finally break their bond with the Orioles and win this division of the AL East? Yes or no, and why?
I'm going to say yes, but it's only going to happen if they do a few things. Alex Verdugo, their left fielder, is straight garbage. He's got to be a free agent at the end of the year. He came from the Red Sox. He's been terrible. They need to call up the Martian, Jason Dominguez, who right now is on the Rail Riders, beating up your Syracuse Mets, hitting a home run every day this week pretty much. He needs to be called up. He did great last year before he had to leave the Yankee lineup in September after he had a great 10-game run because he had Tommy John surgery for a position player that's rare. He came back from injury. Then he hurt his oblique muscle when he was rehabbing. He is tearing the cover off the ball in AAA. He needs to be your replacement left fielder compared to Alex Verdugo. Verdugo can't hit. He doesn't hustle. And the best thing he can do is play decent left field. Dominguez needs to be your left fielder. The other big thing that's going to be a major thing, and they're at least thinking about possibly removing him from the spot, Clay Holmes can no longer be the Yankees' closer anymore. He leads Major League Baseball with 11 blown saves. And that's not even including all the times he's coming in a tied game or a game where it's a 4-5 run deficit because it has to be 3 runs or less to be a save situation or the time run on deck, all these complicated baseball rules. He continuously either walks all the guys around or throws up baseballs down the middle, gets destroyed like he did against the Texas Rangers on Tuesday night because he couldn't throw a strike over the plate, so then he laid up a slider in the middle of the plate because he couldn't get a sinker over because it could bounce in the dirt. Clay Holmes in a non-pressure situation can be a decent reliever, but he is not your closer. He can't get it done. He's no Mariano Rivera, not even close to what the Yankees are used to. And if they were willing to move off Aroldis Chapman, who a few years ago was struggling just like that, and they bounced him for Clay Holmes to be the closer, why a guy who's about to be a free agent, just like Verdugo, who's probably going to leave at the season's end, why are you so loyal to a guy who continuously blows save after save? If we didn't blow 11 saves and pretty much tanked an entire month of the season from middle of June to like late July, we were the worst team in baseball. And we still have one of the best records in baseball, Yankee fans.
Yeah.
If we didn't have that stretch, and a lot of that stretch is, we hit poorly. Verdugo is not hitting anymore. A lot of guys are struggling. Volpe's been up and down this year. You pretty much have a Judge who's tearing the cover off the ball. Soto, who you desperately need to re-sign in free agency this year, or else it's really for nothing. You traded all these top guys to get Soto for one great year, and if you don't win a World Series, then he leaves as a free agent. And let's say it goes to the crosstown rival Mets, who right now are battling for a playoff spot. Hottest team in baseball, 7 consecutive wins in Flushing, Queens. It's a disaster if you can't bring Soto back. So besides Judge, Soto, Austin Wells, your catcher is doing great. This Yankee team has been so up and down. But Clay Holmes blowing 11 saves and pitching like complete garbage out of the bullpen has cost the Yankees chances to separate themselves from the Orioles. Thankfully, the Orioles have also shot themselves in the foot and blown some games because the Orioles are a talented young team that has blown chances to pull away from the Yankees when the Yankees were struggling, especially this summer when the Yankees were struggling for that month and a half stretch. I still believe the Yankees will get it done, but I think if Clay Holmes remains your closer and you keep trotting out Verdugo, who's going to pretty much walk to first base because he doesn't hustle anything out, which sickens me as a player and a coach, that you don't play with your hair on fire like Pete Rose used to, where you run the catcher over and you play hard all the time. Derek Jeter said, it costs you nothing to hustle. Just hustle until the play is over. And this guy can't do that. It angers me because Verdugo is not going to be a Yankee at when season's over or come free agency. Why are you letting this guy play when you have a superstar in the making in left field in Jason Dominguez, who right now has to dominate AAA in Syracuse this weekend instead of helping the Yankees at the big league level? It's ridiculous that he didn't get called up when you expand the rosters in September. They play the Cubs starting today in the afternoon, 3 afternoon games against the Cubbies. Yankees, I think they will turn around. I think it's going to go either way. They're a half game back now. They're going to at least get in as a wild card team, but then you have to win the best of 3. You lose 2 games in that wild card series. Better than when it was just a single game. You're done, and that starts on my birthday on the 1st of October. I think they'll find a way to edge the Orioles, but I think it's going to be close. I think whoever wins, it's going to go down to the final day or 2 of the season. And it's going to be a one-game, pretty much a one-game difference. I think the Yankees will edge the Orioles out, but if they continually put out Verdugo and Clay Holmes in pressure situations, they will fail, and they will have to be stuck with a wild card spot where they have to go on the road and pray for a miracle that they get it done in the playoffs in a wild card series rather than get a first round bye into the best of 5 division series, which have a better chance to advance. The Yankees have the talent to go all the way in a wide open American League. The Phillies, as good as they are, the Dodgers, as good as they are, they all have holes, and the Yankees have holes. The Yankees, out of the teams that are out there, they should be the favorites to win the World Series. But if you keep letting Clay Holmes and Verdugo trot out there and put up the garbage they're doing, the Yankees are going to fail, and they're going to be a first-round exit in the wild card. So my hope is the Yankees edge out the Orioles by a game. It'll be close down to the stretch. There's 3 weeks to go. 3 weeks from Sunday is the end of the regular season. Then we start playoffs on the first of the month. So I say the Yankees will get it done, but I'm very nervous going into the playoffs because if Clay Holmes has to try to close out a crucial spot in a playoff game, we're going to lose, and we're going to lose when the team does everything right. Garrett Cole pitches a shutout, and you're going to let Clay Holmes be a disaster in the 9th inning and ruin everything, everyone's seasons, everyone's hopes and dreams. At the beginning of the season, I picked Yankees, Phillies in the World Series. I'm going to stick with that. I'll say the Yankees win the World Series in 6 games over the Phillies. But at this point, the Astros, the evil Astros, it's like one of those horror movies. It's alive. They went from horrible at the beginning of the year. They now might be one of the most dangerous teams, and they know how to win in the playoffs. The Astros are going to be dangerous in the American League. So you should have killed the Astros when you had the chance. All the teams out there, because now in the playoffs, they're going to come back and get you, like every one of those scary horror movies come Halloween time. And then the Dodgers have gotten red hot. So right now, it very well might be a rematch of the 2017 World Series when the Astros cheated with the garbage cans. We might see Astros and Dodgers in the World Series, which the only cool thing about it would be Ohtani finally gets to play in the playoffs because his 6 years with the Angels, the team was terrible, and he suffered losing season after losing season with winning MVPs and be a great player. So Ohtani's about to be the first player ever to have a 50-homer, 50 stolen base, 50-50 season, and he's going to win the MVP in the NL. Judge is going to win the American League MVP. I'd love to see a Yankees-Dodgers World Series, which would be an epic matchup. They played each other in interleague play this year. But it's all going to be a matter what do the Yankees do, and the closer spot especially. Clay Holmes cannot be your closer. If he's our closer, we will get knocked out of the first round of the playoffs. And then it's going to be Astros-Dodgers probably in the World Series. But I'm praying that's not the case. I'm hoping for a Yankees-Phillies World Series, which was the World Series matchup in 2009 when I saw the Yankees. The first year of the new Yankee Stadium built, I took my family to the games, and we saw the Yankees win Game 6 of that World Series on November 4th, 2009. I got to see them win a championship in person, something that I'll never probably ever get to experience ever again in my life, especially as a Jets suffering fan. I got to see that at least once in my life, and that's on the bucket list that they can never take away from me.
No, and I appreciate the coverage and the breakdown of the New York Yankees and where they are right now. Across town, the New York Mets, as we take a look at them, they are currently tied with the Braves for the final wild card spot, and I'm being told that they're going to take the G choice from the Big 12, and they're going to flip a coin. But the Mets are currently at a place where they're still fighting for the postseason. The Arizona Diamondbacks and the San Diego Padres have been fighting with each other on who's going to be closer to the Dodgers, who's going to get the top wild card spot in the West, and who's going to get
your
the
Diamondbacks are dangerous.
One.
They stuck in last year, and you saw what they did. They look like a team that started off great, struggled lots of the season in the second half, and then they got hot late. The Diamondbacks went all the way to the World Series, even knocked off the NL champion Phillies, coming back and winning those last 2 games in Philly. The Diamondbacks get back in the playoffs, which looks like they're going to at least get one of the wild cards. They are dangerous, and they're a fun team to watch, and they know how to win. And they just got their star first baseman back, Walker. Christian Walker just came back from injury. Diamondbacks are dangerous, so look out for them as well. But there's a lot of these dangerous teams out there. But I'm still, as a very paranoid Yankee fan who's seen the Astros beat us year after year, I'm nervous about the Astros. The Astros get in the playoffs, which looks like they are in the AL West. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with, and that scares the heck out of me as a Yankee fan.
Well, and you and I said Yankees-Phillies at the beginning of the season, and, looking at it now, I got to give Papa Joe credit where credit's due. He said, I don't care where the Astros are, where they started, mark my words, they will win their division. They are winning the division right now. He also talked about the Kansas City Royals, who I seconded in picking to win their division. They're still behind the Cleveland Guardians, but they are in the playoffs if they were to happen today. and the Arizona Diamondbacks are 79-62, and they are right there within a half a game of the San Diego Padres, and they've been going back and forth with them. They were able to take a game from the Dodgers. They took a couple games from the Giants. Hottest team in baseball coming out of the All-Star break. They won 8 straight series. Coming out of the All-Star break, won 9 overall, going to their last one before the All-Star break, then lost the 10th series, then went right back to winning their series again. The Dodgers are considered the best team record-wise in the National League. However, the Diamondbacks and the Padres are staying within a couple games of the Dodgers. They, within 5 games, 3 games, 3.5 games, 4 games, 7 games, somewhere within that region. So I just want to let people know, if the Dodgers have the best record in baseball, if the Dodgers are the best team in the National League, what does that say about the Padres and the Diamondbacks that people may be overlooking if they're hanging with the best team in baseball?
And they're dangerous. And the Padres seem to have the Dodgers' number. They beat them a lot head-to-head, and so do the Diamondbacks. They don't seem to be afraid of them. And last year in the first round of the playoffs and the division series, the Diamondbacks swept the Dodgers, the mighty Dodgers, and embarrassed them. So I know the Dodgers got Mookie Betts back. They have all the star power. They're going to get Yamamoto, their Japanese star pitcher, back, coming back on Tuesday, and Kershaw should be back. But the Dodgers are a big, cocky, superstar team that everyone's like, oh, they can just show up and play, just like Florida State thought they could. And they're going to be these hungry young teams that can come back and bite them. And I do want to give credit to the New York Mets, though. The Mets, an MLB active best winning streak, 7 straight wins. They have that OMG tagline. Pete Alonso going to his free agent of the year. Francisco Lindor, if it wasn't for Ohtani, he'd be the National League MVP this year at shortstop, hitting 30 home runs again. The Mets are a hot team. They believe in themselves. They're playing with house money. No one expected anything out of the Mets this year. Everyone expected a World Series last year, and now the Mets had no expectation. They have the richest owner in sports, Steve Cohen. They're like, oh, we're probably just going to punt on the season. The Mets are in it. They might be able to knock off the Braves for that final wild card spot. And if they get in, they're a dangerous team, and they might get their star Japanese pitcher back. Kodai Senga is rehabbing. He only pitched in 1 game this season. Then he hurt his calf muscle after rehabbing his shoulder, and he should be back before playoff time. If the Mets sneak in, you have an ace pitcher who's ready to go, and he's healthy and rested. Yeah. And that's another feather in the Mets' cap. The Mets would be a dangerous team come playoff time.
Yeah, and you look at, and you mentioned the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks last season won their series in the postseason against the Dodgers. After taking out the Milwaukee Brewers, they defeated the Dodgers, then the Phillies, en route to the World Series to go up against the Texas Rangers, who look like they're not going to be making the postseason as the reigning World Series champion. I want to remind people that Arizona started the season last season. Their first series of the season was on the road at the Dodgers. They went 2-2. Then they had a 2-game series against the Padres that they split. And then they hosted the Dodgers. So they played the Dodgers 8 times in their first 10 games. They beat them 3-1, winning 3 in a row in the second series. So overall, they went 5-3 to open up the season against the Dodgers. And then they went 0-5 in the second half of the season. And nobody gave them any credit after going 0-5 against the Dodgers that they would have any hope of winning. And they beat them. They beat a 100-plus win Dodgers team in the postseason in the playoffs, and just seeing what they did there, the redundancy in the postseason and the playoffs, y'all know what I meant. They went 0-5, and then they took them down. So, it's a new season when you get to the postseason, and there were people clamoring and complaining going, well, the Dodgers had to sit and wait, and the Diamondbacks got to play, and the Dodgers won over 100 games.
Those are excuses, buddy, because they got the rest.
Then they got beat by the Diamondbacks, and what is this and that? And this is what I tell people all the time. They're like, well, a 100-win team should have some type of protection. You get no protection. That makes no sense anywhere. This is how the world works when it comes to sports. The more games you win, the better opportunity you have to get in. Once you get in and you secure your spot, well, there's no argument of this team won 86 and this team won 100 and they should get more because they won. No. The 100, they did get more. They got a better seeding. They're not a wild card team. They won their division.
They got a first round bye.
So, yeah.
They got to rest for a week.
So they're in a better place. They're in a better situation. They don't have to fight for their life in the wild card round. This is the reality. Your record gets you in. Your record gets you seeding, and your record might get you a bye. But this whole thing about, the Dodgers deserve better, and they had to play the Diamondbacks, and that's not fair. They had to play a team that they went 5-0 against in the second half of the season. They had to play a team that had to fight for their life against the Brewers. They had to play a team that had to play more games than they did. They had to play a team that wasn't automatically into the next round. Oh, boo-hoo. This is how I look at it, because they're like, well, teams that sit and have to wait, they don't always win. That's not true. In the case of the Dallas Cowboys, true. In the case of the Kansas City Chiefs, false. So the reality of it all is, when you win more games and you win your division and you give yourself a bye and you put yourself in a good situation and you get better seating and you get to start at home, all of those things are meaningful. If you lose to a team that you beat in the regular season, if you lose to a team that you had a better record than, that doesn't mean anything, because all of your regular season record does is get you in. Once you're in, everybody's 0-0. So to the people that complained that the Diamondbacks beat them, I guess you're complaining about a team that was better than you at the time that they played.
Yeah, it's a sour grapes, because I get it's, base players are used to playing every day, and you can get rusty after a while, and you can do some inter-squad scrimmages and live batting practice. It's hard to replicate a game. Yeah. But you still had a chance to rest your star players, set your starting pitching staff and your bullpen so they were ready to go, instead of, let's say, a Diamondbacks team or wild card team that has to throw all their best players, and then their best pitchers, if they get out of that round, are not going to be ready until a few games into the next series. Where the Dodgers and these top-seeded teams, they can set everything the way they want it, and there's a little bit of rust. But if you're the better team, you knock off that rust, you stop making excuses, and you kick some butt on the field. These championships are won on the field. I don't care about this excuse about, we sat for too long. That's your problem. You stay ready. You get ready. Take live band practice. Do whatever you have to do to get yourself ready to play. Because at the end of the day, you get in the playoffs. You earn that right. You earn that first round bye. But when you go head to head, you don't deserve to come in with like a 10-0 lead because you had a better record in the regular season. That's insane. Yeah. This is not bowling when you get like an advantage. They give you a 60-pin advantage because you're a worse bowler. No, you come in. It's a 0-0 game. You start from scratch in the playoffs. And you still have the advantage. You have home field advantage in the playoffs because you had a better record. You're going to get your home fans. You're going to get all that rowdiness and have the sold-out crowds, bring in all that money. And if you can't get it done, especially on your own home field, you have no one but to blame but yourself. So it's on you. And I just hate those excuses that, we sat for too long and, it's not fair. What would make it fair? You're supposed to have a 20-0 lead because you had a better record than the regular season? That's insane. You play a real baseball game. They beat you. Now get over it and get better for next year.
The best thing that I can say is from a league of their own. There's no crying in baseball.
Yep.
There's no crying in baseball. But
and Tom Hanks takes very long pees, if you see that movie. It's a never-ending pee. He just keeps peeing and peeing because of a full night of drinking the night before.
Yeah, lots of that going on. So, and by the way, Tom Hanks also takes really long pees in The Green Mile.
This might be a real thing, or he's just an amazing actor, or maybe he's both. I think he's both. I think he's a great actor, and I think he has to pee a lot. Yeah, I think he has a pee issue.
So we always find a way to go back to the movies and to pop culture.
To pee, back to bodily functions, whatever it is, goes back to movies, and it's potty humor. Because deep down, we're like 7-year-old kids.
Yeah. So for me, for myself, Dan Tortora, and for iPhone 29, our special guest, Ross Turetsky. Ross, as always, I appreciate the conversation. I do want to ask you this really quick. Do the Mets make the postseason?
Yes, I believe the Mets are going to get in because I think your Padres and Diamondbacks get in. I think the Braves, and it's not fair because they lost their star MVP from last year, Ronald Acuna Jr., who his brother is a top prospect for the Syracuse Mets.
Baby
At
Acuna.
some point, the Mets should call him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's going to do some great things for the big Mets soon, Acuna's brother. But Ronald Acuna Jr. has been out for most of the season, so the Braves aren't not playing with a full team. Spencer Strider, their star pitcher, has been out for pretty much the whole year with Tommy John surgery. So if the Braves are fully healthy, I think the Braves are better than the Mets. But the Braves being not as what they were because of all their key injuries of star players, I think the Mets are going to catch them. They're going to edge them out for that final wild card spot. And then I'm saying, look out. They're going to be a fun team playing with house money. The Mets might be this year's Arizona Diamondbacks come to 2024 playoffs. Look out come October.
And it's been interesting because the Braves have hung in there without Ronald Acuna Jr. for a long time. And so, credit to them, whoever comes down. in that race between the Braves and the Mets, which has been very close and overshadowed by the Yankees and Orioles, but shouldn't be. And I guess we end this by bringing it all together and saying, if you're really complaining about stuff, maybe you should have your team go and pee on the diamond and claim that they own it because they peed on it. So with that being said, Ross, fellow sportscaster, writer, and of course, Luzerne County Community College head baseball coach going into another season here, and a lot of excitement for that and all the things that you do. Shout out to Abby as well as Lorelei and LJ, and to your whole family. You're wonderful, sweet, sweet woman in the world, your mom, and to your siblings and to everybody out there in Dallas, PA. Much love to you and the crew, and always love having you.
It was a pleasure, buddy. And also, we have a soccer star on our team,
Yes.
in our family, because my son, LJ Turetsky, he scores like 2 goals a game. He's a man amongst boys out there, and he's the same age as them. I know he's a bigger, stronger kid than most of these kids. Look out. He wants to play basketball next. He played T-ball for me when I coached him. This is actually our T-ball shirts. I have Coach on the back. We were the Pirates this summer. And then he wants to even play football when he's 5 years old next year. So watch out. He's a sports dynamo, and I think some great things to come. I know I'm biased, but I can't wait to see LJ, what he's going to do. But I love watching him play. Tomorrow morning, after a late night of covering high school football tonight, tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, we're going to be out in the fields in Dallas, cheer on LJ as he kicks some butt and scores some goals on the pitch on the soccer field. So excited about that. Thanks for having me on. And it's not complete until I give you a little Schwarzenegger. Get down, Jamie!
I appreciate it as always. Give my best to LJ Pele for me, okay?
Absolutely, buddy.
All right, I love you. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye, iPhone 29.
Okay, bye-bye from iPhone 29 here on Wake Up Call and Ross Turetsky, the alias. So with that being said, we thank you all for being here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. One final step aside. We wrap it up after this. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Kampground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Kampground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Kampground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9Kampground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9Kampground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Kampground.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is the sports card and trading card shop of choice here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And why is that? It's because of the people. It's because of the service. Yeah, they have great products, but they have great people behind all of the work that they do, and they are constantly trying to create something special and unique. I'm happy that we have a sports card shop and a trading card shop that's local in Syracuse. On top of that, I'm happy with the people that we have within this shop. It starts with Josh and Anthony. They do a tremendous job. They care. They work tirelessly. And 99.9% of the time, you don't even know all the work that they're doing and everything that they're putting together behind the scenes. And I appreciate it because they talk with me about it. I get to see it and I get to witness it. And GG Cards and Breaks is something that I pray grows, I believe in, and I want to see be successful because of the people, because of how they treat people, and because they are kids themselves. They're big kids. They love it. They collect cards. They're opening cards. They're adding things to their collection. They love seeing other people win, and they think of you. And I got to shout out Joel, who's the first person I met there. Shout out Alex. Shout out everyone that's there, Kevin, and so on and so forth. I mentioned Josh and Anthony. They have people that just genuinely remember you. They smile when they see you. They shake your hand. They ask you how you're doing. And they know what you like and they know what's important to you. And they've done these little things that have really become the big things. Putting a card aside and I walk in and they bring it over to me and they say, "Here you go, Dan." And they might think it's the tiniest thing in the world. They might think it's an afterthought. But to me, it at any age makes me feel seen, makes me feel appreciated, and it makes me feel like I'm somebody who they value. And value, when it comes to that, there's no better place than GG Cards and Breaks. Head there today on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 to 5. Back here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank you for tuning in with us today. We went well beyond our time. Big time shout out to Ma and Paz for bringing you our list of topics for the day. Of course, a shout out to Carvel DeWitt for the annoying moment of the week. Head to Carvel today, however your day is going, and whoever annoys you on the road, it's worth driving over to 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York, trying the DT Dolphin, which is mint chocolate chip, green for the Dolphins, ice cream topped off with hot fudge, whipped cream, and a cherry, green and gold sprinkles for the Dolphins, and a chocolate dolphin jumping out of your whipped cream. There ain't nothing like it, and you can only get it at Carvel DeWitt on 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. Minutes from Lemoyne's campus, Syracuse's campus, and right there at the end of Erie Boulevard, close to Syracuse, DeWitt, Jamesville, and so on and so forth. So make your way over to Carvel DeWitt. Big time shout out to Chick-fil-A Cicero for bringing you Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver. Today's topic, make your mind your friend. It is imperative. It is an everyday thing. And your health is important to me, and it should be important to you. Top Dog of the Week, proudly presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, goes to Baltimore Ravens tight end Isaiah Likely for all of the wonderful things that he did. You might look at me and say, Dan, they lost. His foot wasn't in. Go back and listen to why I called him my top dog of the week, and hopefully you'll understand. Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, the place to bring your dog for short and long-term care in East Syracuse, right off of Bridge Street. The Daycare, 315-437-7110. Call today and make sure that you can make an appointment and get your dog set up. And for longer-term care at the dog boarding at Canine Kampground, where every dog gets their own cabin, call 315-299-4013. Big time thanks to my fellow broadcaster, writer, and more than anything, my brother and my friend, Mr. Ross Turetsky. I love you dearly, bro. And make sure you go and see his work in Dallas, PA, and in Northeast PA and beyond. Many thanks to everybody with us up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around this globe on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. I appreciate y'all for connecting with us Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time and beyond that. Big time thanks to our wonderful places that house our show. Thank you, Amazon Music, for welcoming us, as well as Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. Wake Up. All you have to do on any one of these channels is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. For example, if you're in your car and you have CarPlay, which pretty much all these cars do now, you put your phone in there, you get CarPlay. Let's say you click on Spotify, search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and my show library will play through your car like we're on the radio anywhere in the world. And you'll hear it the same in Australia, that you'll hear it in California, in New York, in Florida, in Texas, in Canada, in Mexico, in Spain, in Italy. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, coming to your car, coming to your pocket, coming to you while you mow the lawn or take a walk or go and pick up the kids, or you're having your cup of coffee. We're wherever you go. It's easy, it's free, it's accessible. Follow us and find us on all of these channels by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. And if you look up Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or just my name, Dan Tortora, on any search engine, you will find a plethora of ways to connect with the show, and I thank everyone who does. Big time shout out to our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York: Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, Avicoli's, Brian's Landing, GG Cards and Brakes, Ma and Pa's, who you just had at the fair, and now they'll be back at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York, and they can be at your event if you call and book them at 315-450-6272. Great Lakes Honda City, Pizza Man, Servomation, reinvigorating, reimagining what it means to have vending in your place of work or school or wherever you may be. And a big time shout out to Mother's Cupboard, the home of my sandwich, which I suggest you get on game days and beyond. The Cuse McMother there in Syracuse, New York on 3709 James Street. Get the Cuse McMother today, which is bacon, egg, and cheese inside of 2 pieces of French toast. Pick it up and eat it like a sandwich. Cut it up and have it with some syrup. And get it today at Mother's Cupboard, and 7 days a week, 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Of course, we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It's Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Dolphins on Wednesdays during Dolphin Time at 9 a.m. Eastern Time worldwide. And you can Find our stories with student athletes, coaches, and administration, as well as future Dolphins and alumni by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the Lemoyne playlist, which features over 140 videos over many years. And, of course, you can find the Dolphins on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com and fins up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find what we call the Bobcat Buzz, spotlighting the very unique Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse experience for those of you that are looking to go back to school, go to school for the first time, or if you've been out of school for a few years but you have eligibility left, well, men's and women's soccer, men's and women's basketball, baseball, and esports may be looking for you. They have great job placement and percentage of getting people into a job, so make sure you head off to Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse to find out more by going to their campus on James Street in Syracuse, right up the street from downtown Syracuse, and of course, right off of Route 57 in Liverpool, across the street from Avicoli's. You can find the Bobcat Buzz every single month on Wake Up Call, including this week's special On the Pitch going into the 2024-25 season for Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse Bobcats men's soccer team, who has won 3 national championships in recent history. National championships right here in our backyard. And the Bobcat Buzz coming to you on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find over 70 videos with the Bobcats right there on the BSC Syracuse playlist on our YouTube channel. You will also find the Bobcats on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com, and we look forward to seeing you on the pitch for men's and women's soccer seasons starting very soon. Go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bearcats every single Tuesday during what we call Bearcat Time, happening Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time worldwide. You will find your Bearcats telling their stories, student athletes, coaches, and administration right here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Unlike anywhere else, you're going to find your Bearcats with Moments with Marshall featuring Gene Marshall, the athletics director of Binghamton University, as well as the Bearcat Break Room with student athletes, coaches, and administration. All of that comes to you on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora exclusively. And of course, you can find our library by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you could find our Binghamton Bearcats playlist. The Bearcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to bubearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I hope you have a wonderful day. I look forward to seeing you all. I hope you all go out and support local football, which is kicking off their seasons tonight. Many teams kicking off their season here in Section 3, so I look forward to you going out and supporting the many programs. You know that we do shows with CNS football. We just had Liverpool football. We also have West Genesee and Baldwinsville. We've done things with CBA. So we look forward to the season that we've had ESM. Look forward to the season that is to come, and very, very excited about that. So God bless to all the teams. Beyond everything, stay healthy and have fun. And let's have some great games tonight and beyond. Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, X at CallDT, Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. I look forward to seeing you all at the Dome for Georgia Tech at Syracuse this Saturday, September 7th at noon Eastern Time. And as always, God bless, no stress, do your best.